juggling all these things if you didn't have charisma. He's got Riz. It's fading fast.
I wouldn't call it Riz. I hate that.
I know. The minute I said it, I was like, I want to retract that.
Yeah, please. I listen. I've like my FYP all day is just imagine if Ninja got a low taper fade. So I really don't.
Dude, are you really a dude with a gray hair, or is that just a profile picture?
Not a dude with gray hair.
No, I'm much younger than he is. I'm 24. So, but he's like, I like the image though. It's funny. I
Command and respect.
Yeah, dude, like he's giving you with that. Like he's standing. He's just like, looking into your soul, smoking a Cuban. It's a hell yeah image right there. Any guy will get that image, bro. Any guy will get a hell yeah. You know what I mean? But
it's very phallic.
Yeah. On for the old.
Tap the screen. Let's get Pickles to 50K as fast as possible.
So.
You're cutting out in that last part, bro.
No, my fault. Hang on. Yeah, I've fallen for the old invisible salt shaker myself. So I know phallic when I see it. So
yeah.
You're funny.
I like it. Have you ever heard Trump talk about sharks and batteries?
I mean, on the same occasion, I've heard him talk about sharks and I've heard him talk about batteries. I don't know about the same occasion.
No, he said sharks, batteries, and he had a whole conversation about it. Can I play it for you?
Okay. I mean, it sounds. I just don't remember the specific context of the speech because I actually. Yeah, I mean, if you could actually pull it up, I might be able to decipher it.
Let's do this. It'll be a journey. Hold on. Let's get the actual YouTubes. Why don't I have the app? The fudge? Okay. Not now. Trump shark.
Aggressive tapping.
Batteries.
Tapping is clapping.
Oh, yes, I got you. I am so sorry. Chat, please gift Felice. This is her Cash App next to her profile. A girl has no name. Please give her love. We will read your message. Okay. Prepare your ears.
All right.
Bruh. Oh. Go back.
So I said, let me ask you a question. And he said, nobody ever asked this question. And it must be because of MIT, my relationship to MIT. Very smart. He goes, I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight and you're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery and the battery's now underwater and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there. By the way, a lot of shark attacks lately. Do you notice that? A lot of shark. I watched some guys justifying it today. Well, they weren't really that angry. They bit off the young lady's leg because of the fact that they were not hungry, but they misunderstood who she was. These people are crazy. He said there's no problem with sharks. They just didn't really understand a young woman swimming now really got decimated, and other people too. A lot of shark attacks. So I said, so there's a shark 10 yards away from the boat, 10 yards, or here. Do I get electrocuted? If the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? Because I will tell you, he didn't know the answer. He said, nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, I think it's a good question. I think there's a lot of electric current coming through that water. But you know what I'd do if there was a shark or you get electrocuted? I'll take electrocution every single time.
So I said, what would you choose, the shark or the electrocution?
Actually would choose to be electrocuted.
Yeah, I don't think the electrocution is going to happen.
I know. Well, yeah, it makes no sense scientifically. But if it's a choice between the electric chair or being eaten by a shark, I'm saying if you have to choose a way to unalive, I would rather be electrocuted.
Anytime he's given a chance to speak like just kind of off the cuff, to hear a stream of consciousness come from this man's head, it's not smart. It's very dumb. It's very dumb.
I mean, I definitely see the scientific. I definitely see the scientific inaccuracies with what he's saying. I'm not a scientist, but I'm pretty. I don't know. Like, it doesn't have to do with like the salt water because I mean,
you're already thinking more than him. Like do you think batteries go? Do you think magnets go poof in water? Do they stop working?
Not.
They don't, do they?
No,
they just work. They still work the same. Trump thinks that happens. Trump also thinks there were airports in the Revolutionary War.
Well, and he's like, the batteries are too heavy, so the boats are going to sink. And it's like, do you understand buoyancy?
Yeah. I mean, I do definitely see the scientific inaccuracies here with what he's saying. When it comes to like, salt water and batteries, there's like a different way than if it works with fresh water. I mean, listen, I'm a shark. I know a lot about sharks, so like I could tell you like different. Because if we're talking, if the boat somehow sinks in fresh water, there'd be mainly bull sharks around, but like or tiger sharks. Those can actually swim.
Well, bull sharks live in brackish water. They don't live in fresh water. It's more brackish water, right? It's like where salt water and fresh water mix. Just saying.
Yeah. Technically speaking, yeah. I mean that, but it's a lot easier just to say they're living fresh and salt too. Tigers, I'm pretty sure tigers are tigers one of those two, or are those just like? Yeah, but like I was saying, yeah, I think there are some situational inaccuracies too with this.
Vegas, thank you so much for the sub.
He was talking about off the coast of South Carolina. It's so sad that I've seen every Trump rally. Yeah, he was speaking in Charleston and he was talking to a guy who makes boats. Like, so he is talking about the ocean.
I don't know. I listen.
Yeah, it would be.
I've never heard Trump really talk in length or nuance about anything. I feel like I say this all the time, but he's not smart, man. I just don't think he's smart. I don't think he's got it going on. He's a salesman. He's a BS artist. He's just full of shit. He just blows everything that he thinks you want to hear. That's what he says. Full steam ahead.
I mean, kind of have to do that, doesn't he? I mean, in a way, definitely. I mean,
yeah, but then he's got to deliver on all those promises, and then he gets his lines tangled a little bit.
A
lot of it.
Definitely, there might be some hiccups. Yeah, definitely down the road.
Like he promised everyone tax cuts, like everyone. Verbally, though, he didn't write it down. So, like, we're like looking at everything he promised, and we're like, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. It's more than anybody.
He's got 4 years. He's got 4 whole years. So, like, I mean, it's quite enough time.
He's a lame duck. It's no time.
In what way? I mean, he just.
Well, actually, you know what? It's going to work in Trump's favor. I'll say that. Like, what worked in Trump's favor before is that he did not stay in the presidency for 8 consecutive years, right? If he had, right, he ran up the debt to the tune of $8 trillion, and he would have, like, what happened was he got voted out, and then Biden had to repair his mess. And everyone's like, this sucks under Biden. Well, yeah, because we were repairing Trump's mistakes in his first 4 years, right? What he did, the tax cuts. He said, we'll make up for the tax cuts with tariffs. We know the tariffs didn't produced a pittance compared to how much Trump was spending, what he spent on the military. He spent and spent and spent and brought in less revenue. And then, Biden got in office and everyone's like, it sucks under Biden, but that was Trump. So something similar will probably happen again, right? Trump's going to come in, do tax cuts, run up, spend. He tried to get them to move the debt ceiling $5 trillion. He's already preparing to just egregiously spend, and then he gets to leave after 4 years. And people who don't know how the global economy works and how it doesn't turn on a dime will just blame who's in office next. I wouldn't want to be in office in 2028.
Linda, thank you for the auto renew sub. Thank you so much.
I mean, definitely, yeah. I mean, I get that, But at the end of the day, what are you going to do with the whole economy stuff? It's not really something I really have paid attention to too much. I was more of a social policy kind of guy. Economies didn't really care about it too much. That's gonna do whatever it wants, I haven't had to pay taxes. I haven't had to pay taxes in years. So whatever things he has to do doesn't affect me. No tax cut affects me. Nothing along the lines of that. And I haven't paid them in years.
Now, why aren't you paying taxes? Or is that something we need to ask?
I mean, can I explain it? Nah, I probably can't. It's one of those things where it's like I can't explain on here, but it's has to do with like the line of work I do and the fact that it's not really an actual line of work. Like it's not actual it's not like an actual.
Don't
line
explain
of work.
it on here. It sounds like it's best.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, so I haven't had to pay taxes in years. Like like I literally got like if I had a money printer, like I essentially have a money printer. Not like in a literal sense, but in the sense where it's like my job gives me so much money, it's essentially that. You know what I mean?
Got it.
So,
Well,
stuff yes, bad. Really affect me.
all right. I don't know. Maybe take some of that money and get a router extension.
Probably need 2 routers in your house, it seems like, especially if you're pacing around.
Yes, I'm on. Pickles, I love you. Pickles, I love you. Felice.
Hello.
Felice.
I really love you.
Mods,
I'm going to say it
don't pick
preemptively.
me. 10 seconds. Felice, you're amazing. You're important. We need you. Don't let people get you down. We love you. Merry Christmas. All that stuff. You're
Merry
important
Christmas Eve's Eve. And you don't know. Thank you so much for your nice messages and the support. Because it's specifically you. I mean, it doesn't go unnoticed and it means a lot. If you
Okay,
guys
bye.
just knew how many times a day some man says something awful to me. And like the reason it just was too much today was because I spent all weekend being harassed by insecure men on the right, like getting horrible emails and messages and THREATSs. And then so what happened in Faxes Live this morning was just like, that's it.
I get it. Pickles, Felice, we love you guys. Keep going. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers. I'm out.
Thanks, bro. Good night.
This trucker is the best trucker.
Love it. Love it. All right. This guy, I think last time told him that his girlfriend should try Preparation H.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, man?
Just wanted to stop in and see what was going on.
Who said something about preparation? Can you repeat what you just said? I didn't.
Can you see what his name is?
Yeah, I mean.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. What's up, man?
Not much. I was intrigued by that shark conversation that was going on earlier.
Is that your first time hearing it?
Riveting
Yeah.
stuff.
It is.
How'd you feel? I wish it was my first time hearing it again today. How'd you feel?
I felt like that was an interesting topic for a speech. How did that even come up?
It was 105 degrees. It was in Nevada, I think. It was like everyone left like an hour early. This is the stuff he was choosing to say. It was so weird, man. And then I think he followed this up with his Hannibal Lecter speech.
Oh, yeah. Well, the genesis of it, though, I just want to be clear. The reason the shark and the battery speech started was he was in Charleston. I mean, I don't know if this is true. I just know where it all started because I've seen every Trump rally. And he said prior to the rally, he was talking to a boat maker. And that boat maker in Charleston was mad because he's like, we can't switch to electric batteries. We're going to get electrocuted. And that's when I was like, okay, you couldn't possibly be talking to somebody who actually manufactures boats. But that's why I say it started in Charleston, because he said before a rally in Charleston that he had been consulting with boat makers, and just like automakers, they were very upset about electric batteries, specifically in the water, because they can kill everyone.
Yeah, apparently he's been saying this a lot. He's been saying it a lot. Oh no.
Telling you, it started in Charleston. He said he had met with a boat maker prior to the rally, and that guy expressed concern because batteries in water will kill you. And then people had to be like, that's not true.
Wait, he also said in Iowa.
That's what I'm saying. And then it just became part of his speech. You know, like it's similar to Hannibal Lecter. Like when you try to tell him to stop saying something, he says it more. Like that's but I'm just saying the genesis was because he said that boat makers don't want to deal with electric batteries either. And then he just took it, you know, it became part of his speech.
Guess you got to talk about something.
Can you imagine Kamala's voice saying those words and just how dumb everybody would say she was if she said that? Like, they would hound her ass.
Kind of
think how they make excuses for him. Like, oh, he doesn't mean it. He can say whatever he wants. Oh, he's not really going to do tariffs. He's not really going to deport people and crash the economy. He's just talking, but no one else is allowed to just talk.
Yeah. Have you heard him talk about water, for, the wettest that we've seen from the standpoint of water, and then saying that Puerto Rico had its own president, saying that NATO needs to pay their fair share, which doesn't make sense. Like, things that have just like been very obvious to the rest of us that he's just kind of dumb. It's real dumb.
Wait, have you guys talked about, I saw something today that he wants to try and buy Greenland.
Yeah, like, what is he doing? He thinks he's emperor now. Like, he thinks he's like, we'll take that piece of land. And then
he sees Putin could just go, you know, violate sovereign territories.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, can we just go steal shit? Remember, he was talking about in his first presidency, he wanted to trade Puerto Rico for Greenland. But he's saying that because it has oil. Greenland is oil rich. As the polar ice caps melt, right? Greenland has a bunch of oil underneath it, and his oil and gas cronies want it back. We like gifted it to Denmark, and that's Denmark. It basically owns Greenland now, and that's what he's saying. He's saying, I want it back.
That would certainly make.
And you can just tell, like, the way he sees this is the same way like an 8th grader will imagine like this works out. It's like, can we just annex, or can we just get Canada? And then he just playfully belittles them on the world stage on Truth Social all day. Like, it's weird. It's not the vibe that we want.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to hear that. Somebody in the comments said that he said that before when he was president. But this is the first I'm hearing about it.
Yeah, he said he wanted to trade about Greenland. Yeah, he wanted to trade Puerto Rico for Greenland. That was his first presidency.
That's hilarious.
Thanks, Kieran. Kieran said, for one of the very best, smartest voices on TikTok. Thank you so much, Kieran. That means the world to me. Merry Christmas Eve's Eve. So glad we're spending my favorite holiday together.
That's right. Anyway. You gotta start telling your girlfriend stop giving you those rug burns, bro.
I give her the rug burns, bro. I don't know where it started, but she's not the problem.
All right, that was clever. That was good. Good for you. Touche.
She's not the problem.
Touche. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to talk about? I'm so tired, guys. I'm sorry. I'm delirious.
Nah, I mean, I just wanted to stop in, but if you want to try and get somebody else on here, I'm fine with that.
All right. You're just not abrasive enough. I don't know. Feel bad after making 2 wiener jokes.
What, like you want me to get mad? Is that
No, I don't know. No.
Send Pickles into fight or flight so he has energy.
people are saying I'm boring them to sleep, but last time I tried actually like debating, they reported me until I couldn't join the live anymore.
Shit. Reset my gift goal. God damn it. My brain's just not good for this, guys.
It's so hard to reset gift goals in TikTok Studio. I wish people could understand how difficult it is to do all the things you need to do. My record of resetting gift goals in a live is like 3 times ever. I can't do it.
Dude, why is everything considered racist? I did not say one racist comment last time. Got people saying
What did you say? Do you remember? Do you tell me what you said and I'll tell you if it's racist?
It has nothing to do with race at all. We were talking about abortion, so I don't know where the racism comes in, but
I mean, there are things, like black women are 3 times more likely to unalive, and the maternal mortality rate is 3 times higher for black women. It's even higher for indigenous women. So yeah, race is involved in things like ABs.
well, I didn't bring up anything about race. I don't know how they get racism out of that.
I'm so delirious, but I could have sworn you brought up race. I don't know.
I mean, remind me. I don't know. My argument had nothing to do with race or anything. It was just whether or not you should be allowed to have an abortion if you're just having sex for fun.
Oh. Okay. How many times have you had sex?
3.5 is my guess. What's the over under?
Like I've at least done it like 7 times.
Yeah, I've probably done it like more than twice.
How many of those times?
I appreciate your honesty.
How many times were you trying to have kids?
Trying to?
Yeah.
None. I'm 21 years old, so
Yeah. That's
early,
it keeps going like that. Like I don't want kids. I still like to have sex.
Sex is for pleasure. Even many species have sex for pleasure, right?
yeah, but I mean, you gotta live with the consequences. If you see it as a consequence, you gotta live with the results.
Yeah, but that's like saying you drive a car and you're consenting to be in an accident. You're not, right?
I mean, yeah, every time you get in the car, you understand that you can get in an accident.
No, but yeah, and this is why you're just ruining your chances of ever having sex again. Yeah, I'm not. Listen, I hear you loud and clear being bigoted towards women, and I will not be ever letting a man touch me. That's how I'm going to solve this problem. I completely agree with you. Men are just going to have less sex. That's what's going to happen. You don't believe, just like you do every day, Mike, that you get to make decisions about your body without fear of coercion or violence. And for some reason, you don't want to grant women that same ability. And so the answer to that is no more sex for men.
No, I mean, I'm all for women's rights, but I feel like it comes with limitations.
It really doesn't. It doesn't. But bodily autonomy does not. You are in charge of your body. Bodily autonomy is about every person making the best decisions for their own individual body. You don't have. The great news for you, Mike, is you never have to get an AB ever.
No, I don't. Nor would I.
Because you make decisions about your body.
Well, I mean, my girlfriend, if we were to end up, if she ended up pregnant, we would both agree on the fact that it wouldn't be right for her to abort the baby. And that's her choice. I wouldn't force her.
That's chill. You guys can do that all you want, but we don't need you in my doctor's office making that decision for my girlfriend.
Yeah, I get you, but that's still another human being.
Not really.
It's not. That's not how bodily autonomy works, right? That's the point of Roe, is to grant the fetus bodily autonomy. As soon as everyone can survive, right, without a fetus can survive without my resources, we grant them bodily autonomy. While you're living, you need my resources to survive. You, in fact, do not have bodily autonomy. You are part of my body. It's the same way if we get in a car accident, Mike, you cannot hook up up to my body and take my blood, or we get in a car accident, you need a kidney. You can't force me to give you a kidney because I have bodily autonomy and I make decisions about my body and my resources.
So a baby that's 3 months old depends on your breast milk. Would you?
That's different. No, that's different. That's transferring the responsibility of caring for an autonomous being, right?
That's
like
still your resource.
No, wait, no, it's not, because it happens all the time. People put babies up for adoption, or parents unalive, don't mean to, but unalive, God forbid, and then the care of that child is the responsibility is transferred to someone else, but that baby is still autonomous, right? It can survive on its own. It doesn't need a specific person. I'm saying while something is attached to me, living off of my resources, right? It does not have bodily autonomy. The minute it is separate from me and can survive, then yeah, certainly I'm going to care for that child. And if I can't anymore for any reason, then I'm going to transfer the care of that child to someone else.
And that's where I agree with you. If I feel like you can have an abortion and it makes sense to have an abortion, one, if you're going to die from the pregnancy, or two, I don't know if I can say the word, RAPE, like if that were the reason you're having a baby.
Yeah, but that's just a lie you've been told, right? The exceptions are purposely vague. 1 in 3 women are SA'd in this country. And do you know what happens? Nothing. We can't convince people that we have been raped. That's how I'm going to say it, because you're right. We can't say that word. But you're talking to someone who's been SA'd more than twice, right? By 2 different people once, several times, right? So, and I could not convince anyone when I was a child that it was happening. So you're saying you believe that there's these exceptions for rape or incest or whatever. There's not. We can't convince anyone now that we're being assaulted.
It's not practical. Any laws that are in place for this, how long do you think it takes to try a rape trial? How long does it, like these things, these lines, these red tapes, all this red tape, it's creating obstacles for people who really, really need it. Really need it to save their lives. It's creating red tape, and doctors don't want to deal with any of it. They're just leaving the states where they're doing this stuff. But this is what I want to talk to you about. This is what I don't care. I care about personhood. I grant people personhood when they can think and have a conscious experience. It's like, hey, I like this, or I don't like that, or this sounds cool, or this doesn't sound cool, or ow, that hurts. Those are things I care about. Anything like my goo and someone else's goo coming together and doing stuff, I don't care. Until it has a conscious experience, I don't care. It's just goo. It's human goo. It's not rare. I make it all the time. It does nothing.
But there's a point that it goes from being goo to a human being. Whether or not it can communicate with you at that point or not, it's still...
No, but that's about bodily autonomy, right? If it can, when it can live outside of my body without taking my resources, while it's living off my resources, it is part of me. It's not an autonomous being. But that's what Roe was about. What is it? 24 weeks is when generally, right? Depending, there's health complications and things that change that. But generally around 24 weeks, a baby can survive outside of the womb. They're autonomous, or maybe they need to be in neonatal care, but they can survive, and they have their own bodily autonomy. They might need assistance, but they are granted their own bodily autonomy, right? That's what the argument is about.
Do you think it's okay for us to pull the plug on somebody who's brain dead?
For who to do it?
Pull the plug on me. Don't leave me sitting in a hospital.
Say if your family member was plugged into life support, it's costing you $200,000 a month. You gonna keep her plugged in, or you gonna yank that machine off?
For me, it wouldn't be about the price or the cost. It would be more about whether or not they're enjoying life.
In healthcare, it does come. Well, no, that's true, but it does become about the price in healthcare because you can't pay it and you will be destitute forever. But that is the point. It's about quality of life or bodily autonomy, right? Like, it is about quality. I agree with you. Pull the plug on me, just in case anyone hears what happens to be. Pull the plug.
What I'm showing is like people who have zero chance of coming back from being brain dead. We pull the plug on them all the time because we don't value just human life, cellular life, like people's bodies just chilling. We care about what's going on. At least I do. I care about what's going on up here.
Value them. I don't think you wouldn't value your mother's life if she was like brain dead in the hospital. It wouldn't be like, oh, screw her. Like
we value them differently. Maybe we don't just not value it at all, but we value it differently.
Okay, and can I just attack this from another angle? Because if you're, Mike, a Republican, if you're a conservative, let me just say, I don't really like saying Republican and Democrat. If you're a conservative versus a progressive, the real issue here is what we need is just like Mike, when you go to the doctor, I'm not like, oh, Mike's going to the doctor. We all got to get in that doctor's office with him. We can't trust Mike. We don't know what Mike's up to in there. Mike is going to make some bad decisions and we can't trust him. So we all need to get in that doctor's office with him and monitor him. If we are conservatives and are allegedly, right, the party of small government, small federal government, small state government, hands off my body, hands off my rights, hands off my choices, leave me alone. Government should be as small as possible. We should never let the government, right, in the doctor's office with us for any reason. That's why we have medical professionals, right, who can in concert with whoever's body it is, can make the best decisions. And if you're a true conservative, then you can see if we let government in the doctor's office with us on one thing, then it's going to multiply, right? And we never want to set a precedent. In small government, the government should have nothing to do with our medical choices. That to me, that's the real argument. None of us should want the federal government or a state government monitoring what we're doing with our bodies.
Yeah, without voting on it, obviously. I don't want them to be able to.
We're losing you, bro. You're far away from
Someone
your mic.
said team pull the plug. 100% team pull the plug. Me too. I told everyone I almost died 4 years ago. I did have, it expired now, but I had an advance directive to pull the plug too.
Can you hear me better now or no?
There you go.
What was I saying? Damn. Sorry, can you repeat the last thing you said so I can remember what I was about to say?
I just was saying if you're the party of small government, we should never want federal or state government involved in our healthcare in any way. It's between us, a doctor, and other family members, quite honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I would never want the government to be able to just decide for themselves what we can and can't do, but I feel like that's not the case. Everybody is voting for it.
No, it is. Like, I can tell you, because I know a lot about what's happening with the AB issue. And what's happening is that women are unaliving. You're probably not hearing about it, but maternal health deserts are being created. And because the point of those exceptions, like you say it, so like, hey, if someone's raped or there's incest or, or life of the mother's in danger, that's fine. Let them have healthcare. But what's happening are those exceptions are purposely vague, right? Let's take the state of Texas. And doctors in the state of Texas keep asking, please, we need more direction. You guys are threatening to put us in jail, to sue us, that we will lose our medical license. So what's happening is nothing. Right? They're too scared. Women are going septic, right? There's leftover tissue, necrotic, that means dead in Latin, necrotic tissue that is, causing infection in women's uteruses. And the process, how you treat that is a simple DNC, but that's the same procedure that is in AB. And what's happening is doctors are afraid if they do anything, they will lose their license. So women are dying. An 18-year-old, her name was Nevaeh Crane, pro-life, blonde-haired, blue-eyed 18-year-old who had gotten pregnant by her boyfriend and was like, I'm pro-life. These laws are just meant to protect me. They sent her to 3 different hospitals while she had an infection and refused to do the DNC because they were scared they would lose their medical licenses. And she's not with us anymore. She's dead. And her parents tried to sue, and no lawyer would take the case in the state of Texas. We need to let doctors make medical decisions about what's best for people. We can't tie their hands.
That's why I was saying that should be one of the exceptions, is if you're not going to survive, because I do think the mother's life should be valued.
No, it is an exception. I'm saying it is vague and doctors aren't sure.
It's hard to legislate. It's hard to work with.
Sepsis comes on fast. That's the problem. And they're saying, hey, if there's any, this woman has to be dying. But what is dying? Right?
Is it
Who
20%?
determines
Is it 30?
how fast an infection is taking hold in someone's uterus, right? Sepsis is an infection in the blood. It is spreading fast. And doctors are paralyzed by fear. It's not just up to an individual doctor. They are filling out, they are charting and trying to lobby within a hospital to the hospital administration to be able to do the DNC, right? It's not just like an individual doctor can decide. And that's the problem. No one knows when someone is going to die or not going to die. People are losing fallopian tubes. Their insides are being maimed. Even if they survive, they'll never have other children again. Like, you should look into this. And because of that, OBGYNs are fleeing states like Texas. The South is now what they call a maternal health desert. In rural Texas, it is over an hour's drive, not to give birth, to get to see an OBGYN, period.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one to say like at what point it should or shouldn't be considered too risky, but I just think at some point, like at some line of like risk, then you should have the right. Like, no matter.
Maternal mortality rates are skyrocketing, just so you know. Since the Dobbs decision, since these strict AB bans have gone in place, the women's chances of surviving childbirth are going down, right? The maternal mortality rate means the rate at which women unalive during childbirth is skyrocketing. Preterm infant births are skyrocketing. Infant mortality, the rate at which infants unalive, is skyrocketing. Do you know why? Because doctors used to be able to make decisions because they're experts and say, oh, actually, this pregnancy is not viable, right? You're going to have this baby and it's going to have so many complications that it's going to unalive within the first year of its life anyways. But people who aren't doctors, state governments are like, nope, force them to give birth. So now the infant mortality rate is actually skyrocketing. Nothing good is coming from this. I could tell you, the data tells a very grim, horrific story.
Yeah, and I agree on you. Agree with you on those points. My only opposition to abortion is when it's literally just like sex for fun, and then
Sorry.
And then it's like, oh crap, I'm pregnant, time to go get an abortion.
Nobody. Why do you think that's happening?
I know it's happening. I'm in college. I see it all around me. I know what the girls.
But again, you listen. You are casting judgment, right? Your set of morals and ethics are not other people's sets of morals and ethics, right? We can't legislate for your personal beliefs, right? All I can say to you is, you and whoever you decide to stick your D in, make sure they share your set of morals and ethics. But we can't legislate based on how you personally feel, right? I don't share your ethics. I really don't ascribe to morals, period. So, like, I'm talking about utilitarian, what is useful, what keeps our population healthy, right? And we know through the data that this is not good. But just because you have a set of beliefs, remember, every American has their own personal set of beliefs, and you can apply those to your body.
Well, yeah, that's why we have to vote. So I'm just telling you my opinion.
This wasn't a vote. This was the Supreme Court taking away my bodily autonomy that men have.
Voted for, and nothing is decided without our opinion going into it. At some point,
yes, it is. Legal decisions have nothing to do with your opinion.
Those people got into office. How?
We didn't vote. No women got a vote on this. You have nothing to. Do you understand that you can't give birth? This has nothing to do with you, and you're standing here 10 toes down saying this has to do with me. I need to get a vote. It doesn't have any. My body has nothing to do with you. The choices I make medically about what's best for my body has zero to do with you.
You're right, it doesn't. But everybody has their right to vote, and I just don't agree with having sex for pleasure and fun, and then
it's human nature, bro. Like that's
sure you never have an orgasm. You better not be having orgasms, Mike.
No, I mean,
so better not be. Make sure you're edging and then stopping. Because if it's not to have a child and under the confines of marriage, don't you dare have a second of pleasure.
And
I do have pleasure, but I would be willing to.
Mike's having pleasure.
Yeah, I just wouldn't.
That goes against your own line of. He just doesn't want women to. Do you understand what I'm saying? Mike's like, I cannot. It can feel good for me, but I just don't like the idea that women are free to experience pleasure and to have sex. The point not being to procreate.
No,
the point being to experience pleasure. That's what you're saying.
No,
for some reason, you can experience pleasure, but the idea of women having freedom and bodily autonomy and experiencing pleasure with their bodies really angers you.
No, you can have all the sex you want. You can have all the pleasure you want. I don't care if you have sex with 5 people in one day. My problem is when it leads to abortions because of that pleasure. If you are physically able to give birth and you can afford to have the child, the kid is not going to die of starvation. And
no, you're completely wrong, though. You know that, right? You know nothing about child poverty and food insecurity in the United States. That's absolutely not true. Do you understand when young mothers give birth that it does disproportionately affect the child? They grow up in poverty. I mean, the percentage chance of them growing up in poverty, of being food insecure, increases exponentially. You don't actually, that's not true what you're saying.
I don't get how that relates to what I'm saying. I'm saying as long as you will not die, you are not RAPED to become pregnant and it wasn't incest, then you were having sex with the idea knowing that it was possible that you could have a child. And I don't think you should be able to go back on that and then kill the child.
Dude, if sticking your dick inside of a light socket felt good, people would be getting electrocuted every day. You can't. This is human nature.
I mean,
he's not listening. You're right. Who said that? And he's right. He's not listening to a word we're saying. You're just repeating your same illogical argument. First, you cannot make decisions about other people's bodies, Mike. It's not for you and your own set of morals, because that's what you're applying this to. Your personal morals. No one in this country has to share with you. Right. But, and again, I just want to introduce something, because this is one of the problems with the exceptions. There's something called acute illness. Do you know what that is? That would be like, hey, I have an infection like sepsis and I'm imminently going to unalive if I have this child. Right. And that's what you're saying there's an exception for. But there's different types of illness, which is running rampant in the United States. It's called chronic illness. Right. And there's no exceptions for that. Right? There's chronic illnesses that make it dangerous for women to give birth, not just in that moment, but after. There are mental health issues, right? That women have, right? Depression, suicidal ideation, things of that nature that make it very dangerous. I can tell you have no idea what happens to a woman's body during pregnancies, but there's huge hormonal shifts. Right, that can lead women to unalive themselves and other things. Postpartum depression is a very real thing. There are many reasons why a young woman or a woman, period, is not in a position to give birth to a child in a healthy way.
Then
you're not thinking about all that. What you need to do is just trust that women are highly intelligent, highly sentient. We are caring, empathetic, intelligent beings who are going to do what's best, not just for us, right, but for the future. right? I'm not personally ever going to have a child. And that has to do because I have read too many epigenetic study. And I understand that the way genes are expressed, right? My anxiety and trauma can be passed down, right? We know that it can be passed down 3-4 generations, right?
That's all I
Read
ask.
epigenetics. So I'm saying I'm making the responsible decision because of that I'm not going to take the chance to put what I know has happened to me onto someone else. That's me making responsible decisions about childbirth. I need you to trust me, Mike, that I, as an individual, know what's best for my body and my future children. And what's best for my future children is that they do not be born.
And I applaud you for that. You read into it. You did all the research you need to do, and you realize that it is not smart for you to have a child. Other people do not do that. They don't give a crap what's going to happen to the child. They don't care if the kid is going to come out with problems or it's not going to survive, or if they get pregnant, they're just like, screw it. I'm going to AB the kid because it's not my problem. It's not my life.
You're making both sides of the argument, right? Sometimes AB is a good decision.
I know it is.
Like pregnancy is an economic issue. Having a child is an economic issue. And as someone, I was raised in absolute chaos, trauma, poverty. And I can honestly say my parents had no business having a child. And this sounds very dramatic. I mean it in the most non-dramatic, just matter of fact way. I wish they had made a better choice and not had me.
Well, I mean,
No one should have to suffer through what I went through. Period. No child.
I mean,
So if they had been responsible, I wish they would have and said, hey, based on our, mental health issues, based on where we are in life, based on our life experiences, based on a lot of things, based on our, level of poverty, we are in no position to have a child, and it would be inhumane to bring a child into this situation.
Yeah, and that's the right
That's what I'm trying to say. Sometimes what's best for an unborn child, it's just not the way you're thinking of it. And if you think like, oh, just put them up for adoption. Adoption is trauma. There are medical studies on that. Foster care is trauma. I used to think when I was a child, oh, I'm going to call Child Protective Services and I'm going to go into foster care. And then some cousins of mine went into foster care. And that is a whole other hellscape. But you're lucky if you survive. So I'm just telling you, I want people to make smart, responsible decisions, but birth control fails. You're acting like people are just running around trying to be irresponsible. Birth control fails all the time, right?
Okay, but the numbers would be extremely lower if those were the only cases where there were abortions. If it was things like that, where the mother is going to die or the birth control failed on somebody that can't have a child, that would significantly decrease the amount of ABs that were happening. But I feel like some people seem to not realize that sex is what creates children. And so they just go around doing it all they want. And then they're like, oh shit, the sex that's supposed to create children just created a child. Time to go kill it.
I can I agree with you there? I 100% agree with you on that. But what you have to understand is that is the fault of conservative policy, right? Think about how you hear conservatives like Donald Trump saying they're talking to the kids about sex. We should, right? People should, like at young ages that are age appropriate. I used to be a teacher, right? There are different conversations you have with children about their bodies and about sex at different points. And the conservatives are trying to let children grow up in ignorance, to not understand exactly what you're saying, that actually sex leads to pregnancy, right? Here are the options you have to prevent that. That education is so necessary. Like I talk about it all the time. I was SA'd as a child. If someone had explained to me at a young age, this is healthy touch, this is unhealthy touch, adults should not be touching you in this way, right? If I had had that education, that age appropriate education about my body, maybe I would have avoided a lot of pain. It is the Republican Party that's trying to take that education away from children. And you're right. If we did educate everyone, maybe it would lead to fewer pregnancies.
This is a map of what she's saying. You see all these black states, the lead in teen pregnancy, and they overlap. So the states with teen birth rates above 25 per 1,000, and all of the pink states are the ones where there's simply high teen birth rates, but not as religious. So states where there's 45% or more of people identifying as very religious, that's the Bible Belt right here. That's where they're the kings of not graduating high school, in fact, dropping out before 9th grade. They're the capital of school shootings, the capital of where life expectancy is the lowest and where human development is the lowest, and divorce rates are the highest.
Are you making
when you just say get married at a young age, Jesus will take care of it, and you don't provide sex education, you don't provide people with options. Like in Texas, I can tell you, they're taking the federal dollars that were allocated for places like Planned Parenthood, where you can get contraceptions. Because I agree with you, children need to have the education and then be able to know, where can I get contraception? What can I do if I don't want to end up pregnant? And instead of giving those federal dollars to Planned Parenthood, you know what they're doing in places like Texas and the South? They're reallocating that money to crisis teen pregnancy centers. Those are religious centers that basically gaslight, give false medical information, and encourage children to go through with the pregnancy.
But why would I want my child to be basically influenced intentionally about their sex when I can do it myself and teach them all they need to know about sex and safe sex and not using...
You don't know. No, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, Mike, because I do think when you have a child, just make sure you really educate yourself. But you don't know. I've taught you many things you don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Like, I can't tell you what I've learned on TikTok from nurses on TikTok who've talked to me. I do a show on Tuesdays called The Broadcast, where it's her name's Dr. Danielle, and she is a literal medical doctor, a sexologist, and she educates. We talk about conservative policies and how they're affecting women and children, particularly in maternal health deserts. And what I've learned from her, like, I thought I knew about this stuff, and then I heard a doctor speak about it. Sometimes I agree. I think that's great. You have the right idea. Parents should have an open line of communication with their children. There should be nothing off limits. If kids need to have a conversation, you should be there and ready to listen. But also, experts can provide a lot of really good information.
Right. Just like they can learn from experts, I can do the same. If you're unable to provide your child like very basic ideas about sex, then I don't think you should have a child in the first place. You should not be trying to have kids.
Well, that's not how that works. If you're not very educated on it, you're more likely to have kids. So
yeah, I mean, you should be able to, like, as soon as you're gonna have a kid, you should immediately start to think about what you need to teach them and how you're going to raise them, not just like...
All right, we can't... Okay, sure. We're working on, like, the education thing, I guess, but it's usually working out better in blue states.
I don't know about what state specifically. I'm just saying, as a good parent, you should not be depending on a school to teach your kid what to do and not do with your penis.
We have to, because they're most likely, it's most of the time, it's likely that you are a victim of your parents or somebody close in the family. That's why it's very important that the school or third party does this.
Yeah, I can explain to you why, because it happened to me. So, like, I was SA'd as a child repeatedly, and, like, that's why it's very weird, you know, like, conservatives have this idea that, like, watch out for the LGBTQIA. No, that's not reality. What we know is when children are being SA'd, it's usually a familial relation, right? It's somebody who is related or has access to that child, right, closely. Right. And so that's the reality. So when I went to my parents and started saying things, I was gaslit and told to be quiet. Right. Like, and that's why I'm saying it would have been nice if I had that education I was going to a private religious school where there's no opportunity to know about that stuff or to learn about your body. But if I had, it probably would have saved me a lot of pain and grief. I'm not saying parents shouldn't, but they do not. I was raised in a completely evangelical religious household. My mother didn't speak to me about my period. Like, I had no idea. Sorry to be graphic, but I'm just saying, like, what you're saying, I think that sounds good. And yes, parents should have an open line of communication. I think that they do not, though.
And that's the problem. My problem is not like.
But think about it. Kids are autonomous. You're betting a child's future on, well, then that kid gets to suffer and they might get pregnant early and let's force them to give birth because their parent failed them. We should give the kid every opportunity to get an education, right? Because it's their future.
And I agree with you on that, but when you start to let the schools teach them everything, then you're not raising the kid. You're basically, your kid is being raised by the school then. And however that school like thinks is what your child's personality and thought process is going to be. And I'm not comfortable with
that's not true. You got to know that's not true. I was a former teacher, so I just want to say it takes a village, right? I'm a teacher. I have a class of, well, it depends. You know, if you're in public school, when I was student teaching, I had 46 kids to me. And I was a student teacher who had no business being alone in that room. And they're just like, sorry, like we're this is a mess. Like, just figure it out. And kids were speaking 4 languages. I didn't have time to personally raise each kid. I'm just trying to keep them alive and like learning how to do some addition. Like, you know, so I think you underestimate. You're right. As a teacher, it is not my role to be a parent. I don't want to be a parent, right? My job is to educate. And I need parents to also play a role because repetition is how you educate someone, right? We need to reinforce lessons, right? I can teach them something at school. I need parents to reinforce that. I need parents to know what homework is coming home. I need parents we all have to work as a team. Like, I was a Division I athlete. Like I told you, I grew up in chaos. So actually I was raised, pretty much learned how to be a really good person, a good citizen of this world by my volleyball coach. You know, like a lot of different adults can have positive influences on children, right? It's not just parents. And as a parent, you should want that because your children should learn. I don't need to learn everything from just my parents, right? There's other I can learn a little bit of something, right, from everyone.
Right, but when you're sending a kid to school, how well do you know the teachers? Like, you see them at open house and you see them maybe the day that you're signing them up for school, but you don't know at all who that person really is. And
it depends. Like, as a teacher, I mean, I think that's true of parents who have to work a lot, but you know, I hope that's not the case. I tried to text my parents. I tried to be super interactive because I know I can't do this alone. I need the parents to be on my team. We need to have an open line of communication. I want them to understand me and know I have the best interest of their child at heart. Right. And I want to be like, I need parents involved, but I also understand because of capitalism that for single parents, like that is completely, sometimes it just can't happen. Like, I had a child come to school every day in soccer cleats because he did not have any real shoes. Like, and the parents were Ethiopian refugees who did not speak English. I could not communicate with them. Like, it was an impossibility. Like, I was buying their kids shoes. If he missed morning breakfast, I would save him a muffin because I knew this kid's not getting breakfast anywhere. You have to, I mean, on a certain amount, you have to understand
good person.
that, yeah, I am. I think generally teachers want the best for children, right? I want to make sure that kids get what they need to develop in a healthy way.
Yes, teachers are generally good people. My mom was a teacher also, so I know that some teachers do want good and do have good like standards, good morals. Like, they're not trying to do any weird stuff, but I'm personally not comfortable with.
There's always exceptions. I agree with you, but those are crimes, right? There are always outliers in society. Like, one of the places I was essayed, I always talk about it, was church, right? When I say I was, you know, at private Christian school, right? Which was also a church, I should say. So it's both. But, you know, like, I agree with you. You can't trust everyone in authority. It is not safe. I agree with you. And that is egregious. Yeah, there are people who abuse power, right? But we can't, like we say, unless this is Minority Report and we're precogs, like we can't foresee that, unfortunately.
No, we can't, but we can limit what our kids are and are not allowed to be taught in school without my permission, without me seeing it and hearing what's being told.
There are many kids who are in abusive situations and need to understand age-appropriate information about their bodies. Like, this is good touch, this is bad touch. You know, like, here's how to keep yourself clean. You know, brush your teeth every day. You would think, and I get it, if you, why wouldn't parents be doing that? Why wouldn't parents be teaching children that they're not everyone is growing up in the best environment? So unfortunately, health class, right? Health and safety class, like when you're in elementary school, is necessary for a lot of kids. They have to learn how to take care of themselves, how to take care of their bodies, because no one's reminding them to brush their teeth. No one's reminding them to shower every day.
And if that's all it was, then that would be totally fine. But there's no way to be certain that that's what it is. When there's one adult in a classroom and 25 children, the adult.
There's curriculum. Teachers aren't freestyling. Just to be clear.
I know, but they're the only ones.
There's curriculum.
There can be a script, just like how Trump had some sort of outline for his speech, and then he starts rambling about sharks and batteries.
Yeah, listen, you can name any outlier situation. Donald Trump has been found liable of SA, and you're defending him. You care a lot of children. If people are victimized, this is a man who has victimized someone, and a jury of his peers found him liable for it. I agree. We should protect women and children, at all costs.
This is a boogeyman. Like, this is something we can't disprove is not happening. This is not something y'all can prove is happening. I would ask you right off the bat, where are we legislating this? Where have we passed legislation to make schools go woke? And the answer is nowhere. We haven't done any of that. All of the school's curriculum is done locally and then at a state level. No, we're not doing this. You guys have been told this is happening so that Trump can save you from it. It's not real. He's selling his $3 Bibles that he bought from China and slapped his name on. He's selling to schools in Oklahoma to the tune of like $60 million. They're $60 a pop. Like, this is the shit he's doing to schools, even though those kids already have tablets with the Bible on them. Like, this is the shit this is funny business. That's the only funny business I've seen in schools.
Well, I haven't defended Trump's character a single time, and I'm talking more about specific topics rather than like Kamala versus Trump. Like, that I don't really care for. I'm just debating what I think is right and wrong, not which president.
I mean, you got to see how much of this they've tried to make you think about. They spent $270 million this last campaign making people scared about trans people who have been here this whole time and who we have not extended any sort of extra special privileges to in recent history, yet they're all of a sudden this huge problem with zero events. Like, this is another thing that has zero events where things aren't happening. Society is just organically growing. Kids are doing things, becoming gender fluid. Being trans is becoming more acceptable because it's backed by fucking science. And I just don't know what else to say. Like, they're using this so that you guys are all scared, think about we're woke, like spreading wokeism, like it's a mind virus, when really there's nothing we say that's not outside of science. Like, there's people like putting the Bible in schools. That's outside of science. That's the earth isn't 6,000 years old. It's like, we can go into that.
I just think I don't want my child to have like thoughts based on what their teacher thinks. I don't care which side it is. I don't care if
you might have to homeschool them, bro.
I just have to be clear. That is not happening. There is curriculum that and that doesn't come from the federal government. That's a lie Trump's telling. Each state has state-sanctioned curriculum. I don't say, I'm based on my thoughts, like my beliefs, I'm going to develop a curriculum and indoctrinate my class this year. No, everybody is teaching the same lessons on the same day. Principals come and sit in classrooms because, you know why? We all have to pass the same standardized tests. Like, it's not what you're worried is happening is not happening. And And if it was, it's inappropriate and should be dealt with. If we ran into a situation where a teacher said, "Hey, F this state approved curriculum, I'm going to freestyle," then that person should not. No, it's not a problem. You feel like it is. I'm telling you, it's not. What happens is if you go off curriculum, then when standardized testing comes up, your classes fail them, and then you lose your job. Like that's what happens. You have to teach the curriculum so children can pass standardized tests, or you no longer have a job.
So you, as a former teacher, never had conversation outside of a script that the
curriculum. Like, I don't teach lessons based on random things. And I was a second grade teacher, so I'm talking about 6-year-olds. Like, did I ever talk to my 6-year-olds about SpongeBob and listen to them, and just be a sounding board? Because I know when I was 6, sometimes kids just need to be validated. Did I play with them? Did I teach them how to play volleyball? Was I the coolest teacher ever? Still to this day are my classes, the kids I taught trying to friend me on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok? Yes, they are. But no, I never, ever, ever. And I taught at a school, like, in the latter part, not when I was teaching at a public school and student teaching. I mean, I taught at a private Christian school for 2 years, and I was not religious. And I taught creationism for the love of God, because that was the curriculum. And it is my job to teach curriculum, and at a young age, it's not really creationism, it's just, science is very simple. You're just learning about bugs and stuff. So it's not actually something that I found ethically wrong for me to do. But I'm just telling you, no, I never inserted my own beliefs into teaching. There is a curriculum, and I sign a contract so that kids can pass the tests that go along with that curriculum. And that's how I'm measured by success. And just being a good person and kids learning, hey, like, if I need something, if I need to talk, I can talk to her.
Yeah, and that's you being a good person. Just like you're able to be a good person, somebody is very easily able to be a bad person and start to teach them things.
Which that's a crime, right? If someone is committing crimes against children, they should be held accountable. If someone is going off book and not teaching the curriculum, those are grounds to be fired, right? But what I'm trying to tell you is there are recourses for your concerns already in place.
Yeah, you're demonizing teachers because they had to campaign on this because they can't offer you guys anything. They just had to. They have nothing else. They saw the people responded to it, like you. And now all of these teachers, they're like quitting. No one wants to be a fucking teacher right now, especially after Trump cuts everybody's tax. Nobody's going to have funding. He's going to cut the Department of Education. They're about to, like, every red state on this map is about to be short teachers. You're going to be begging for them to come teach your kids about fucking LGBTQ shit when you see that there's no one fucking there to teach them at all. Every one of these states that's red right here, every one of them, their Department of Education is about to be cut. They're about to receive negative billions or hundreds of millions or tens of millions of dollars, some of them, and they're about to have to figure all that out because Trump's convinced you guys that this is so bad.
And so
let me just, Mike, here, what's really wrong in education? Like, there are real things to care about in education. That public schools are funded based off property taxes, right? That is an actual form. That is poor children have fewer resources. We should do something about that, right? That's why in rich neighborhoods, the schools look like airports, new airports, and in poor neighborhoods, they're just like falling down in ramshackle using textbooks from 5-10 years ago. That's something we should do. That's what we should do something about. And if you want to know what the Department of Education does, it actually tries to offset that. Right? Like, for, Title I gives federal dollars to schools in poor neighborhoods, because the property taxes are so low, and it tries to offset those problems. And if we disband the Department of Education, that gap will just grow. The rich will get the best educations and the poor will suffer. Like that, those are the problems that keep me up at night.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't agree with that.
Lexi, thank you so much for the tip. You're amazing. And Merry Christmas Eve's Eve. Thank you so much, Texie Lexi Law. I always enjoy being in lives when you're here. Love your brain.
But the point I was trying to get across was I've seen videos of teachers like dressing boys up in like girls' clothing and letting them wear dresses and things like that. And I'm like, one, I don't care if my child decides that he's gay, but I do care if a freaking adult decides that for him and influences him into that decision.
Dog, that's not a thing that
happening.
happens, by the way. No one gets
happen.
influenced
No, it
to
does
be
not.
gay.
Stop.
That's wild. And
How does it not happen?
Okay, when did you decide to
don't
be
get
straight?
influenced into changing your sexuality, right? I'm pansexual, right? When I went to private Christian school, I made the mistake of saying out loud, "Oh, I think I like girls and I like boys." They had my mom sign a permission slip, and then at the next chapel, which we had on Tuesdays, it's emblazoned into my brain. They all put their hands on me. Well, whichever students wanted to, and teachers, and tried to pray the gay out of me. Now, am I no longer attracted to men and women and a spectrum in between? Nope, I'm still exactly the same as however I was.
Okay,
when
so
I was born.
just like how you did not enjoy that, it's the same for the opposite.
No, it's not, because that's what you said isn't happening. And if it is happening, right? Like if you're saying there's a teacher and you have photographic evidence that a teacher, let's say, is bringing a dress to school and forcing a boy into it against his will, and this is somehow part of state curriculum, then like I said to you before, that's wrong. And there's a recourse against that, right? There's a disciplinary, there's a review system, there's firings, there's, if it rises to the level of the crime, right, you get the police involved. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If things that are wrong happen in schools,
yeah, there
is recourse.
There's already things that make those things wrong. This is not an epidemic. Like what we actually do have a pattern for is places like churches and clergy people being more likely to be sexual abusers, especially of those of the minor type. That's where that's happening. So if you're in church,
you're not aware of this?
No, I just didn't hear what he said.
Do you keep your kids away from like I would keep your kids away from church. That's probably the best way to keep your kids from being
they would just go with me like a normal family would do if they decide to go to church. I wouldn't send my kids off to go be influenced by somebody else by themselves. Like the only time that should happen is in school, and that's the problem, is then they're susceptible to people giving them whatever information they want to give them.
What about Sunday
That is
school?
not
Would you ever
happening.
send them to
and
Sunday
if
school?
it happens, there's a disciplinary system in place. You just keep repeating the same thing.
Right,
We've
but
refuted
that's-
it with facts
if it is
and
seen.
said, hey, if something inappropriate happens in a school, there's a disciplinary system and a review system in place to
But how
deal
is-
with that.
how
And
is
you
that
just keep
supposed to be
saying
done?
the same thing over and over.
No, because I'm saying, how is that the way it's done is intentional. How is a little kid gonna
No,
tell
okay,
them-
that's in your opinion.
Yeah.
So
Everything is
yeah, these are
what
just
you're
your
saying is
feelings,
bullshit.
and you're repeating. And I'm not saying that in a rude way. I'm saying you are repeating your feelings over and over again. This is not the reality of what's happening in schools, right? There are cameras in schools. There are reviews going on. If you think that teachers are alone with students and doing weird things, no, that's wrong. And there is a disciplinary system in place to stop that. Period.
I just think some people
Period. It's
You're
no, but there's
fine.
nothing else. And I know you're like, but it's happening. And if it does, that's wrong. And there's a disciplinary system. And then you just say, but I think it's happening.
Well, I'm glad you realize it's wrong, but some people don't. Some people
No,
are like,
all I'm saying is there's a specific curriculum to teach, right? You teach that curriculum so students achieve on standardized tests. If they don't, then you're up for a review and could be fired.
But how would a
right? And if
standardized test
you are teaching kids anything, like let's say the Bible, in public schools, right? If you're trying to bring a Bible and have Bible class in public school, you can be in trouble for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot indoctrinate kids. So if that's happening, I'm just going to say it again, because if it's happening, there is a disciplinary system to handle it.
But that's not the reality. Like, if it were that simple, then kids would not be.
You're not yes, it is. It's very much the reality.
If every single broken law were to be caught, then there would not be SA. There would not be kids getting into those weird situations with family members or people in churches. If all of this was so easily caught and figured out immediately, it wouldn't be happening. It's just not the case.
And that goes back to my point that's why kids need education about their bodies and need to understand what is good touch and what is bad touch. You are making the argument, let's not explain anything to kids about their bodies or bodily autonomy and say, no one has the right to touch you, right? If you don't want someone to touch you, it is okay to say, please do not touch me. That is what SEX education is. That's what health and SEX education is like at young ages. It has nothing to do with SEX. You have this delusional idea in your head of something that is not happening. It's teaching children what bodily autonomy is. You decide who touches you, right? Hey, touching you on the arm is different than touching you in private places. And if someone you need to tell an adult. If an adult is touching you and making you feel uncomfortable, you tell them to stop.
And that's
if they do not stop, you report it to an adult, right? These are the things that need to be taught. That's age-appropriate education to protect children. If you care about children, you should want them to be protected and to have it to be armed with information about what is healthy and not healthy for their bodies.
And that's what is taught. But what I don't agree with is then it extends into, if you like boys, then that's totally fine. If you like girls, that's totally fine, this and that. When sometimes that's not what the parent thinks, or that's not what that's not what they want their kid to be taught.
I mean, if you're as a teacher, it's not my job. I'm never going to be a bigot, right? So whatever children, however children are developing, it's not my place to get involved, and I'm going to love them. I'm going to support them and encourage them equally.
Yeah, so would I. But
I would never say, if a kid's like, hey, I have a crush on Tommy, I wouldn't be like, no, you're not allowed to. Yeah. You're too young. I'm inserting my own moral beliefs into this situation. I wouldn't say that. I'd just be like, hey, whatever. This has nothing to do with me. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, that's how it should be.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
If you think that people are going around, teachers are going around either confirming a child's sexuality is appropriate or inappropriate, we are not, and we are not allowed to do that.
You are not. You can't speak for every other person.
Yeah, but you're just making this up.
Yeah. Hi, Molly.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Felice, but just really quickly, and please, I appreciate you advocating for us, but I'm a teacher. I've raised 3 boys. I've been married for 30 years. Here's just something that I've been sitting here listening to this for over an hour. It makes me, first of all, it breaks my heart that the MAGA group, the Republican side, but especially the MAGA group of conservatives, have convinced a large group of the American people that teachers somehow don't have children's best interest at heart. It's heartbreaking to me. We go to school it makes me almost want to cry. It's like, we go to college for 4 years to get a bachelor's degree in teaching, because we love children. We love children. We want to teach children. We have children's best interest at heart more than anybody else in this country. So I'm not sure why you would ever think that teachers would have some malevolent, nasty, bad intentions towards children. Do you really, really, truly believe that?
No, I don't. I don't know if you were here for me saying my mom was a former teacher, and I know how much she loved her students. She's still friends with her students.
Okay, then who do you think these people are? Where is it in your imagination? Where is it? Who do you think these people are? What do they look like?
there are some people that cannot leave their political views at home, and that's where I have an issue.
And why do you believe that?
Because I've seen it, I've heard about it, I've read about it, just like any other topic.
Do you take things that you read? Do you have any sort of, do you understand how to know if you're reading something that you can verify? Do you have media literacy? Do you go through, do you look and see where the primary source is? Do you do that, or do you just read something and believe it?
No, just it's basic research. You see several things happening. You read the sources from several different people, all saying the same thing.
The sources, you go and you see who that teacher was, and you go and you look and you find the primary source, and you see, yes, there are these teachers that have these intentions that aren't for the best for the children.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like you seem very like you might want to be a little too controlling of your child's
I
future.
feel sorry for your future children. Like you can't, like you're saying if a teacher validated a child, like my job when I was a teacher is to validate children. Children need to be validated and just reminded, hey, you're okay. You know, you're thinking and feeling a lot of things. You're deciding who you're going to be in the world, and that's okay. You know, and I'm here to just validate you and let you know you're on the right track. That's what children need, right? They need to know it's okay. You're going to have a wide range of thoughts and feelings, right? What you think now might not be what you think in 6 months, and it might not be what you think in 5 years, and none of it is wrong.
And I will tell
I think what's at the I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'll let you go. I don't want to stay up and talk too much, but I'm just saying at the forefront of our minds are what's best for this child. But there's also something at the forefront of our minds as we have very strict, moral conduct, and we have to follow certain things. We can't even give a child, an antacid without worrying we're going to be in big ass trouble. So it's like I feel like you have these imaginary people, these like teachers that have some sort of indoctrination that they want to place on these children, and it's just not true. It's not true. I'm telling you, it's not true.
I'm not saying it's common at all.
It's not true. And like I said 100 times, if there is an outlier case, right, where a teacher is causing a child harm, there are disciplinary and review, there's a disciplinary system in place to take care of that. And you just continue to repeat the same things.
You guys are repeating the same thing.
You said a lot of teachers or people can't leave their, political, biases or whatever at home. But don't you think if there was a teacher that was actually like that there are, how many other people on the staff would know that person's a little unhinged? And obviously, if she's trying to put that on the children in her classroom, her coworkers would see it. I mean, they would be turned in by someone she works with so freaking quickly.
And that's how that's how it ends up on the internet.
Guys, by the way,
where do you see this on the internet? Just
talking about extremist right-wing propaganda, and
I know, but where is it?
We're talking about 99.9% of teachers have kids' best interests in heart, are living like right above the poverty line, and are doing a literal public service for students. And Mike has the audacity, whose mother is a teacher, right? A lifelong teacher, has the audacity to say, oh, I saw some right-wing propaganda on X. Of course he's talking about right-wing propaganda. You have a mother who's a teacher, and you're defaming teachers and their character.
I mean, we spend all of our extra money on our children in our classrooms. We don't even have enough money to teach these kids. We live and breathe for these kids. I'm telling you, whatever you saw, which I have never even heard of. I mean, I've heard the propaganda, but I'm like, who would be dumb enough to believe that?
I just looked it up. You can go on Safari right now and look up teacher dressing boy in a dress, and it shows up several different links.
This better not be a school play, or I'm going to lose my...
No, it's the dad confronting the teacher because he shows up and his son is wearing a dress that the teacher put on him.
What do you mean the teacher put him into it? Or it's just a dad yelling at a teacher without any
let's walk
actual
through that.
context? Because that's
The
what
teacher
it
woke
is.
up in the morning
Just
and
because
said,
a man
"Oh."
said that. And by the way,
Is this it?
I feel terrible.
No,
I feel
it's a
terrible
black
for that child, and not because of the teacher. Because a child put on a dress and then somehow they're not worthy of their father's love and their father's
Okay,
love.
let's look.
Son wearing a dress.
It's preschool.
Because his son is wearing a dress in class.
I can't believe
you
this is what
understand
you're talking
preschool?
about. Yeah, he doesn't. My mother is a lifelong preschool teacher.
That's, by the way, that's the Sleeping Beauty's dress.
It's a dress.
Are you kidding me, Mike?
So you are literally up here for the last hour spreading propaganda.
This?
How is it propaganda?
What would you do if you walked into the
Mike,
class and
okay,
you
I'm
saw
gonna,
the teacher's
please,
put
I'm
the
gonna,
dress on
after
her?
I say this.
No, can I just say
I'm
something?
gonna go-
What, do you understand what's happening? I just want to be clear. This is not a teacher that put a child in a dress. What is happening is this man is asking someone, what would you do if that happened?
No, he's watching.
And can I say something, and I'm gonna let you go because I don't want to take over your live. I love you, Pickles and Felice, and I couldn't take it anymore. I taught preschool for 4 years in college. Let me tell you exactly what's going on here. Then you guys can discuss the rest, and I'll go down. In preschool, right, which is not public school funded, just so you know, these are little kids. They look 3 and 4. They look under 5 to me. They have big bins of dress up clothes, and it's like free time. And you just go
Absolutely.
and you grab dress up clothes and you put them on.
And that dad is a horrible bigot, right? Who we need to feel sorry for is that child that has to grow up with a bigot for a father. Who is
No one
saying,
put that child
because
in a
my
dress,
child chose a dress. Yes, and think about well, we know Mike's never taken child development classes. At the developmental stage preschoolers are at, they very well don't even understand the difference, right?
They don't have any orientation.
They see a bin, yeah, they don't like, or they're they see a bin of clothes and just like, hey, I like this color.
Yeah.
It's like in America.
It's dress up time.
Do you
A
guys
boy
remember?
puts on pink.
Do you remember
a
this
boy
thing?
puts on pink, and the dad's like, "Don't put my kid in pink." The boy just thought, "I like this color."
I absolutely had to have this when I was a little kid, and I threw a fit. And there was also this other. It was like the Sky Dancers. You guys remember those? Where you spun it and they like flew
Yes,
up.
I remember
Yeah.
those. You go
Yes.
like this, and
I had to have
I remember.
it. I had to have it. Turned out wasn't gay. Just saying.
No,
It's the craziest thing. It's the
You're
Crazy.
craziest
I just
thing.
like the
Mike.
mermaid, bro. I even kind
Last
of put
thought,
it.
I'm gonna get
Yeah.
off here. I'm sorry. I'm just Mike. Are you hearing what I'm saying right now? Can you hear me clearly?
I can hear you loud
That
and
was
clear.
dress up time. That was free play time. They can go to the kitchen. They can go to the bin with the dress up clothes. They can go to the art center. And he just grabs something out of there and put it on because he's a preschooler. That is not a teacher dressing up their child in girls' clothing with an agenda. Okay, did we get that all worked out?
Yeah, we can agree on that.
Okay,
So
great.
you made this
Thanks.
up and have
Yeah.
been repeating. Thanks, Molly.
I
It's nice to
didn't
meet you.
make
Let me
it up.
follow you.
Can
Before
you drop me? Thank you
followed
so
you,
much.
Molly. I followed you, Molly.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank
letting
you
me
for
up.
teaching and doing such a
Okay.
labor of love.
All
It's
right.
a
Yeah,
thank you,
thankless
Molly.
job.
It sure is. Okay, thanks, guys. I'll be watching.
Alrighty.
Can you drop me? I'm never up in live.
I got
don't
you.
know how to get out.
Hey, Amber's here. All right, Wiener Burns. I'm gonna give you this last moment with Amber, and then we're gonna let you go.
All right, sounds good.
Hi, Pickles. Hi, Felice.
Hello.
I was just kind of like echo the same things that the previous person said because I've been a teacher for a very long time. And I have 4 kids. And yes, that was a preschool. Preschools are privately funded. Parents go and do interview. Parents
sure you
go
do
and
it.
check out the preschool and interview the teachers and stuff, and then they choose a preschool for their child. They're well aware that there's dress up bins in the room, there's kitchens in the room, and that the children, when it's time for free time, are allowed to put on whatever costumes they choose and act out their little plays and make believe. That's like the entirety of a 3 and 4 year old's world is imagination and make believe. Everything they do, they're pretending, they're playing characters. What's wrong with that?
You play house. Sometimes you're the mom, sometimes you're the dad, right? Like, this is how they live inside a fantasy world.
And to be totally honest, I've been listening to this. I don't even know what to say. Like my husband and I was listening to it with me. What in the actual F? Do you have kids, Mike?
No, I'm 21. I don't have kids.
Yeah, you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. Like, no offense, but you have no idea what goes on in public schools, in elementary schools, middle schools, high schools these days. You have no idea the burden and the limited amount of time that teachers have to even go to the bathroom and eat their own lunch, let alone like try to change children's clothing. That's not allowed.
I do not.
We're not allowed to do that. We are not allowed to take any clothing off of a child or put any clothing on. If something happens in our classroom where a child has an accident or gets sick, we are not allowed to remove any of their clothes. We have to send them to the nurse to take care of them.
Building your online business?
Sorry, I just want to look at this.
We're not allowed to do that. That's not
This
happening.
doesn't. Is that an American
Those are
flag?
3-year-olds.
Yeah. What flag is that? I guess that is the American flag.
Poor child to have to grow up with that father too.
Where do people come up with this? This is
I'm not
it's
coming up with
honestly,
anything.
teachers have been under attack, literal attack, for the last 8-10 years. My job has been fucking nightmare. I'm a librarian, so I get all the parents freaking out about books we don't have that they're convinced we have. It has been nothing but we are the enemy now, and we are the ones caring for and protecting your children all day, and sometimes losing our lives for it, for not enough money.
And you're spreading propaganda.
Like, thank you for helping contribute to this
spreading propaganda.
lie that teachers
Okay,
are
well,
out
if
here
maybe you don't
indoctrinating
understand what the
children.
definition of propaganda is, but what you have done, and I'm saying that is the nicest way I can say what you're doing, is spreading misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda.
It's not misinformation.
And your mother, it's by
There's
definition
a video right
misinformation.
there of
The way
kid
you
in a dress.
recounted that story to us was absolutely misinformation.
You just watched it again, and now you're repeating the same lie that you said before. That a teacher in a public school undressed a child and put a dress on them.
What's
in
going
place
on
of
in
the
your
clothes
head,
had,
Mike?
or
Gross.
put a dress over top. That is not what happened. That is a classroom full of 3-year-olds putting dress up clothes over their clothes
And I don't-
by their own choosing.
You did say that,
not-
Mike.
that is not
You
what
said
you're portraying.
you said a dad came to pick up his child, and a teacher had dressed the child in a dress, which would mean that a teacher would have to undress a
Look at
child.
the age
Yes,
of that
no,
kid.
but Mike, absolutely by definition, you are spreading misinformation. The fact your mother is a lifelong teacher and you would do teachers like this is disturbing to me.
I don't know how-
I think, and like, let me just tell you,
They're not gonna
it's
let me
called
do it.
projection. Freud was right about everything, and it's amazing. And you have a deep-seated insecurity inside you about sexuality. I think you're uncomfortable probably about your own sexuality. This is my opinion now.
No, I'm
And you
completely comfortable.
live in fear that for some reason, if your child is exposed to a dress-up game and chooses a dress, that somehow will dictate your child's sexuality. We know that that's not true. But for some reason, you are projecting that fear onto all of us. You're projecting it onto children. You're projecting it onto teachers. That is not reality. That is projection based on your own insecurity and fear.
No, it has nothing to do with.
Okay. Anyway, and we can leave it. Amber, is there anything else? I think we're about done. That was
I
unbelievable.
mean, I don't even know what to. The ridiculousness has gotten so out of control. I hear this crap all the time at school board meetings and all this absolute nonsense that's not going on. I'm really tired of it. I'm just trying to do my job.
For no
And
money.
no one will
For
let me
no
do
money.
it.
Yeah, it's working.
And-
when you count, when I was a teacher and I counted the hours I worked, I was working for like less than $1 an hour, because
No, I know-
most
I
of
know
your time
exactly
is
how it is.
outside of class. They're in poverty, working tirelessly
that,
to
like,
educate
not to-
children and
not
are
to
being
my own horn or
accused
anything.
of being accused of this kind of nonsense. Like, I don't
And
know how
not to-
teachers do it.
Not to brag, but I have 2 master's degrees. I have a master's degree in education, and I have a master's degree in library science. I'm highly educated. I know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm doing. And I'm not there to, like, harm children or indoctrinate children for like
That's
no
great.
pay.
Never did I say that you were at all.
You are portraying this profession in a negative light, as if we are allowed somehow
there are bad
to do
people
those
in
things.
every
We are not.
profession.
Do you understand how many other teachers there are around you as a teacher at all times, watching every single thing you do? Cameras in the
Can't be
classrooms,
alone with
principals.
students. Yeah, you can.
You have to
Somehow still
submit.
happens.
You have to submit your
it
lesson
doesn't.
plans for the week every single week. They
all
have
of
to
those
be
articles-
approved.
Okay, let me get my point across. So those articles-
Mike's about to
Let's-
spread
you
some
know,
more
no, Mike,
misinformation.
This previous video that we watched is 100% not at all what you portrayed it to be. It is a classroom full of preschoolers. If you do not want, when you have children someday, if you do not want your child, your 3-year-old, to be able to play dress up, don't send them to preschool and don't send them to daycare, because they are going to do that.
to dress according to their gender. That's just me personally. But you're
So
saying-
so if your child was cast like in a play or something at the age of 3, you wouldn't let them play a character?
that's a girl now. They have girls that can.
Do you see
There's
what I'm
something
saying?
wrong with you, Mike.
No,
There's
it's
something wrong with you.
Mike. You need. It's okay. Whatever you are insecure about your sexuality. You are projecting that onto other people. But this is the main point. Children. What this sad conversation we're having. Children, especially 3-year-olds, are completely unaware of this. They get up. They want to go to school and play with their friends in a completely innocent way. And you are projecting your insecurity about your own sexuality and your fears about your sexuality onto children that have no concept of it, that just want to have a snack and play make-believe.
Okay,
I
there's
asked
so
a
many
question,
things.
Mike.
Can
If
I-
you had a-
back and forth, I don't get a single second to say my part. But go ahead.
Keep repeating the
Yeah,
same
because
things.
everything you say is ridiculous. If you had a 3 or
not true.
4-year-old daughter and she wanted to be Superman for Halloween, you would tell her no?
I wouldn't tell her no, but I wouldn't like try to make her dress up as Superman.
So playing pretend is going to somehow harm your child.
Not harm, influence, yes.
Oh.
Harm, no.
Influence them to be Superman? Or a princess?
Yeah, that,
Or like, what if it's like something asexual, like SpongeBob, or like something like that? Like, why would you want them thinking that they're a sponge? That's not real.
Follow
that
the
could
line
be
of
real
logic.
confusing.
Can't let a child dress
Man.
up as Nemo, a fish, because that's gross. What if my child becomes a fish? Like, you have to know the logic makes no sense.
you know that you're not being logical by even
No,
saying.
you don't understand what logic is. I'm actually
Mike,
following
that's
a line of
really,
logic.
really
You're
rich
saying
coming from you.
if a 3-year-old pretends or dresses up as a character, in your line of logic, they will become that character.
No, it's,
No, I'm telling you what your line of logic is.
No, it's not.
And it absolutely makes 0 sense.
No, that's not my line of
That's like
logic.
saying,
did you
hey,
know-
my little nephew is like 3 years old and he wants to right now be a garbage man, right? I just got him a giant garbage truck and he's obsessed with the trash can, putting the trash into the truck. And that's like me saying, oh no, sorry, Xavier, you cannot have a garbage truck because I will not, that will make you a garbage man. And I have higher aspirations for you in life. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Children are allowed to have a wide range of experiences, to play make believe, right? To imagine things. None of that is going to turn them into something
Yes,
unnecessarily.
it will. If you're raised,
Mike, science says you need to stop. It's not true.
you very much will have an influence.
It absolutely won't.
What is your evidence that that's going to happen?
Well, of course he has none.
Please present something, anything to show that that's what happens. I would love to
If
see
you have
this proof.
If you have a kid, a boy, that all his friends are girls and all his friends just put on makeup all day, that's their fun. They hang out and they dress up and they do their makeup. You really don't think that kid is going to be influenced?
No.
Well, let me tell
no.
you, I can speak on that from personal experience because I have one
I
son.
can't believe you just
He's
said
the
that.
oldest, and 3 daughters. The first one was born, and then 17 months later, he got a sister, and then 2 more sisters. Guess what kind of games and toys and stuff we had in our house? Mostly. He had stuff that he liked, but he wanted to play with his sisters because they were his best friends. They're still best friends. He just graduated from high school. He's still a boy. He's straight, but he had Lala Loopsy dolls because they had Lala Loopsy dolls and he wanted to play with them. He had Barbie dolls because they had Barbie dolls and they wanted to play with them together. They played and played and played their little hearts out their entire childhoods together with the same toys, and nothing happened to him.
Those are his sisters.
He's got good taste.
What difference
Mike,
does that make?
Nothing you're saying makes sense outside of you are insecure about your sexuality and you are projecting it all over other people.
I'm not in, like, how, please tell me how I'm insecure about my sexuality. What is there?
Oh, you would have to understand Freud and what projection is. There, like, I just want to say, if and when you have a child, Mike, and that child is, or let's say a boy, and that boy likes boys, there is zero things wrong with that. Zero. And all I've heard you say, I mean, your worst fear is, right, that your child could possibly have a same-sex attraction. And most people's fear would be, God forbid my child have a degenerative disorder, or an autoimmune disorder, or pediatric cancer.
Or a degenerate.
If your child is healthy, they get to self-actualize. You need to look into what self-actualization is. Parents are shepherds. You don't mold who your kid is. A child will tell you who they are as they move through developmental levels. Your job, nope, stop talking, Mike, because you've spread enough misinformation. Your child, their sexuality is not dependent on them not playing make-believe or only being the manliest man when they're 3 years old. That's not real, Mike. That's your fear. You have a fear about it.
No, I don't.
If your child has a same-sex attraction, they are 100% as okay as they were before they informed you of that.
No, I've been trying to get across the point that I am fine with that if it is their own opinion, their own, like, preference, not having it drilled into their head from the moment they step into a school.
Well, I mean, we don't drill anything like that into children's heads because that is not part of our curriculum, and we are not allowed to teach outside of our curriculum. So you would have to have a dedicated assistant for LGBTQ indoctrination following your child around all day, every day, in order for that to even be a possibility, which is not happening. And second of all, you can't influence somebody like that, even if you wanted to. The reason Felice is saying that this is your insecurity is because you believe that somebody's identity or sexuality is that influenceable and that fragile that could actually happen, and that's probably because yours is. Yep. Because I don't understand how you could think that otherwise.
Yeah, like
you're
Mike,
telling me that.
Do you think you could be influenced to be gay when you were young?
When I was a kid, yeah. Before I had my own preferences, it's possible to be influenced. Yeah.
When do you think
maybe you're bisexual then?
When did you decide to be straight?
Freud is always right.
I didn't decide to be straight. It's just how I was born.
Oh.
I didn't decide.
Huh.
Because I didn't have anybody in my ear telling me, hey, do whatever you want.
What about all of those kids who grew up in conservative households that turn out to be trans, gay, queer, all that?
That's probably a result of some other source, or TikTok or Instagram.
It's their brain, because that's the way they're wired. That is what the research shows. You have fallen for like the most nonsense. This is what our country has become. This is where we are.
Well, and just so you know, Mike, homosexuality occurs in other species outside of humans.
At the same rate, for the most part.
No, Mike, I just want you to know, it's important that you know this, because humans we're just animals,
yes,
right?
It does.
And homosexuality, well, we can Google it for Mike because he has no idea what's going on. Homosexuality, Mike, let me just finish my statement. Homosexuality occurs naturally in many species outside of humans, right? They are not influenced by preschool teachers. Take dolphins, right? We know this to be true. I'm sorry that you don't understand science, but it has nothing to do with the influence of someone else. Homosexuality is a naturally occurring part of evolution.
No, it is not. I'm sorry, but it's
Mike,
not.
It's right
Mike,
here, dude. It's on the screen.
It's literally on the screen. It's literally on the screen,
Behavior,
and you have no
same-sex
idea. So
behavior.
again, homosexuality
So a dog
is
humping another
naturally
dog is
occurring
not-
in many animal species outside of the human race. We know this. It is
Read,
documented, and not just. And not for the purposes of procreation, right? For pleasure, right? For the purposes homosexuality for pleasure as a preference. We know that it is naturally occurring in nature.
Famously monogamous same-sex couples stick together through thick and thin. Giraffes, male giraffes have been. I'm sorry.
Those are not couples.
Yes, they are.
I know plenty about animals.
You are the least educated person up here. Please stop saying I know things. You've proved throughout this conversation, you've actually proved the negative. You proved how little you do know. You did not know this. Let Pickles take you through it.
I know plenty about animals, and I can tell you exactly what each of these animals does and how it's not bisexual.
Okay, so again, whether or not it's not dependent on your feelings. I know that you are scared of homosexuality. You are insecure about your sexuality. You are projecting that onto all of us. But again, outside of the influence of culture, of human culture, homosexuality is naturally occurring in animal species in nature. They are not being influenced. They do not have access to this human culture. It completely disproves everything you have said. You need to stop talking about things you don't understand.
There's no bonobos out there going, you like boys. You know, like that's not happening.
There's no animal that pairs with another animal of the same sex. A penguin.
So penguins don't?
No, they don't. That is protecting the children, protecting the baby penguins. They're not a couple. Just because two of them walk next to each other does not mean
they're monogamous for life.
They're not.
So what about the documented case that happened in the zoo recently? I forget which zoo it was, where the two male penguins paired up together. There were no children yet. The two male penguins paired up together, did sexual behaviors together, and then they adopted an egg together and sat on it, took turns sitting on it till it hatched, and then raised it together. So they were together before the egg.
So is your dog attracted to pillows when it humps a pillow, or is it attracted to your leg when it humps your leg? Or
No,
is that
but
That's not what that's dominant behavior. That's a different thing.
exactly? That's the exact same thing.
It's not.
No,
Yes,
the
it's
penguin
an animal
thing.
seeing another
The penguin
animal
thing
trying
is
to dominate.
undeniably way different. Like they are literally mating partners. They are literally together forever for
They're not
life.
mating partners.
Do they bang?
Two male penguins do not.
Do they
mate.
bang?
I don't know. They could, just like how a dog can bang your leg.
What if
No,
they
we're talking
exclusively
about
only bang each
actual
other?
insertion here. We're not
No.
talking about like pretending.
Yeah. What
They
if they
actually
exclusively do it with each other and that's it?
They don't.
Okay, but if they
They
do,
do.
you would accept that as
you
homosexual
put
behavior.
two-
But since
unless you
they
put
don't,
unless you put two male penguins in a tank together with no females, they would not only have sex with each other.
that's not true.
Well, that's not what happened at the zoo.
It is.
No, it's not.
Just like I'm sure your dog has humped your leg, but the dog is not.
No,
attracted.
my dog's never humped my leg actually, but
Okay, sure.
that's not what happened at the zoo. I need to look that up to tell you exactly which zoo it was, so you can go read about them. There was a book about it actually called "And Tango Makes Three," and it is a real story about a real event that happened at a real zoo, and they banned that book from my library.
Yeah, and they actually did try to introduce female penguins to the couple, and they were, I think one of them was like, bye, and the other one was like, no, thank you, good with my buddy here, and was exclusively mating with the other male penguin.
This is totally a BuzzFeed article, but I'm reading it. Don't judge me.
Also, Mike, so I would like you to explain to me how I was influenced when I knew I wasn't a boy in 1979. Growing up in the evangelical South, we didn't have TikTok or quote unquote woke teachers.
And I didn't say that's the only way to decide that you're gay. I never said that.
Nobody decides that they're gay.
I just said that. That's not the only way to
There's
become
no
gay.
way to decide that you're gay because no one decides that they're gay. No one is influenced to be gay. And everyone in the queer community understands that because we all grew up that way. Like, we all were born the way that we are. And we know that we can't indoctrinate somebody to be queer because you can't do that. It doesn't work.
Yes,
In the
you
same way, shut the fuck up. In the same way that you cannot influence you to be gay, right? Nobody could influence you to be gay.
No.
Shut the fuck up.
No, like, that's not how it works.
Shut the fuck.
No.
Shut up.
You
Shut
the fuck
up, Mike.
You shut up.
You
shut up. If you can't have a normal conversation.
You have. I'm freaking infuriated. Okay. Somebody paid to kick me,
Raynell,
please.
thank you for the $25 pay to kick. He had an hour and a half. It was an hour and a half, bro. I gave you last words like 30 minutes ago.
Here's my last words to Mike. Mike, it is okay to be whoever you are. I think that you have a lot of deep-seated insecurity, some feelings you don't know how to make sense of, and I just want you to know, regardless of your orientation, we love you the same. We will tolerate you the same, might be a better way to put it.
I don't think that that's it, honestly. I don't think that that's it. He's terrified of queer people. Obviously he is.
Yeah,
like,
which is just going on. Yeah, which comes from deep-seated terror and confusion.
I don't like putting the onus on our community for homophobia and transphobia. Some people are just fucking bigots.
I will say, actually, I don't want to defend. I do not want to defend him. He spread a lot of misinformation and said a lot of incorrect things, and was defiant in a lot of ways. But I mean, he did he did say he does, whatever. I mean, I don't think he believes all people are being influenced. I don't know if he believes he was, or he knows someone who was. But
I think he's full of shit. Is what it is. I think.
I feel like
he's.
I agree with that.
He's a troll. He's very religious, and he probably has looked at some of this stuff and gone, "Dang, this doesn't go with my religion. This can't be true." And he's justified all these little things. You can tell, he's looked into the penguin thing before, but he's justified. He's got this version in his head that works. It's not true. It's not true.
Well, thank you for letting me try to talk to him. I appreciate you letting me up, Pickles.
No, said, Amber. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Don't drag teachers into your, confusion, insecurity, and bigotry. And teachers are knocked over in the crossfire of this BS. It's awful. Yeah.
It's been really bad, but I just can't. I don't even have. That was really infuriating. I don't even have words. But good job, guys. Keep it up. Thanks for letting me up. And I hope anybody who celebrates has a lovely holiday.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Happy holiday.
Good to see you, Amber.
Christmas Eve.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. You too. Thank you so much, Lainey.
So fucking mad. I lost my career 4 years ago because of bullshit like this.
Yeah.
Well, and imagine thinking rather than just accepting, okay, homosexuality is naturally occurring in nature. I'm being showed scientific evidence. It's naturally occurring in other species. And rather than just saying, okay, I can accept that, then the more logical jump for him in his mind, it makes more sense to say teachers are creeps who are influencing kids. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You could just believe science, or you could scapegoat teachers.
I literally, when I came out, before it was even out to anyone else, I told my administrators, I don't want to talk about this. I just want to teach my subject like I always have, and teach it well like I always have. And I said, if they ever bring it up to me, I will tell them to refer them to their parents. I don't want to talk about this. And even so, I had kids coming to the board meetings with pitchforks.
Yeah.
So sorry that you had to experience that. And I agree. Teachers, all we want to do is teach. I don't want to talk about anything. It's 40 kids to one student. I am doing all I can to make sure these kids are literate. I don't have time for anything else.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna try to go to sleep now. Yay. Thanks for letting me
You're
out.
amazing.
Yeah, thank
Sorry,
you.
I just crashed out. Like, I'm just. That's so frustrating. All right. Love y'all.
Love you back, Laney.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Hello, Cooked.
Ew.
Are you a Trump supporter?
Oh, no. I just want to say that last guy was a lunatic, bruh.
Oh, thank God. I love that you said that. It makes sometimes you start questioning yourself, you know, when you talk to someone for too long, you're like, am I crazy?
Yeah,
Chat, if you're
Hi.
friendly, my mods will boot you. Chat, we're looking for debates desperately. If you guys want to debate, hop in the box.
Guys, tap the screen. Let's get Pickles to 200K. I know, like, tapping is clapping or frustration, you know, rage tap. Let's get Pickles to 200K. He deserves it. This is such a great space where I always feel so safe and welcomed, and I really appreciate it. Tapping is clapping.
Chat,
We're
I
all
should
spending
not.
the holidays together on the internet. I
I know,
this.
right?
This is the best way to do it. Chosen family is greater than non-chosen family.
I feel so bad. I missed movie night, guys. Chat, for those of you who were there for movie night that I didn't show up to, I'm so sorry. I effed up. I did the bad, and I slept past my alarm, and I am sorry. And I've just been totally dissociating these last few days anyway. It's like I have to try to get stoked to get on. Otherwise it's like,
Oh, I know. Can I just say, you guys, Rainey said, I'm glad to see you're smiling. Like, that's because of you guys. Thank you for, like, it's like I could have sat and cried. I was crying all day. I could have sat and cried. And then I was just like, no, I'm going to come here and I know I'm going to have a good time because you guys make me feel so welcome and safe. And I just really, really appreciate all of you without crying again. Thank you guys for cheering me up and making me feel safe and welcome and supported.
yeah, thank you guys. Same thing. Yeah, I just made it sound like I irk getting on. I don't know. I'm so bad. I'm so bad about going live.
Yay, Raiders!
We have a Dan raid. But yes, I appreciate you guys, chat. That sounded so horrible. Dan, thank you for the raid. Thank you guys. Chat, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for the low energy. I got real bad bags too.
Bags under your eyes? Or is that like
Yeah.
an expression I don't know?
I've got all the luggage and bags under my eyes.
I've got baggage for sure.
Yeah. The bags are designer. More retinol.
I muted myself and so started talking. We should do like a self-care live, but still do debates where we have like masks on and like under eye, you know. We
Cucumbers.
yeah, like cucumbers and debate at the same time.
Hello?
Hey, guys.
Hi there.
Hey, I've talked to you before. I just wanted to, I feel like this is a really good one, and I want to say the guy that was talking about the AB bike who was insufferable completely. A big thing that Republicans always like to say is, what does Reagan say? The 9 things that are the scariest things ever, right? You guys know what it is, right? I'm the government and I'm here to help. Okay, that was about embargoes and shit. But you want to put that for medical care? So like I'm saying, like if Reagan's statement was, I'm from the government and I'm here to help, that's the scariest 9 words you'll ever hear in the human language, right? But yet with ABs, they're like, yeah, but that's fine. That's fine with my medical care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hypocritical.
It makes no sense. But anyway, and yeah, he was insufferable, but I just wanted to say that. That's just I don't understand the disconnect there. So you're not good with the government with some things, but like your healthcare, totally great idea. Anyway, that's it.
They have a problem with following a line of logic. Because if they were truly conservative, if they were truly for small government, never, right, would you want the government and the doctor making decisions about your healthcare body, which I think truly most conservative men do not. It's just to them, right? Historically, women are not humans, right? We're chattel slavery. Like we were passed, from man to man in marriage contracts. And I think it's about a certain level of control over women's bodies, right? And most of them can follow that logic and say, yeah, if it was them, I always like to say this, if their bodily autonomy was being violated, men would be at the Capitol doing a J6. And I'm not just talking about conservative men. I'm talking about leftist men as well. Right? That's the truth. If they were in the situation we were in, they would be doing a whole other thing. And I think that is why, we are seeing different levels of apathy from men, because if it was them, this would be a whole other ball game.
Yeah, it's crazy to me too how many people say, well, if you do the deed, you gotta, basically pay for the crime you did, which is to have sex. Ooh. Hey, here's the deal. No kid should be brought into this world as punishment for something their parents did. That's crazy to me. How is that a way to start life? What?
Absolutely. Well, and I mean, there's so many lines of logic that make no sense. Okay, so the birth rate is declining, and conservatives are very concerned, particularly about the YT birth rate and increasing it. We know that from the birth dearth and, what's his name? Ben J. Wattenberg. Well, okay, if that's the case, hey, the legacy of the Dobbs decision, the maternal mortality rate is skyrocketing. Infant mortality is going up. Preterm births are going up, right? Access to healthcare is going down. So if you are worried about the birth rate, and you want to make sure we have more healthy, able-bodied workers for capitalism, it's not working, right? Has the number of ABs gone down? No, that's not, as a matter of fact.
It's gone up, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think slightly. I do. I think slightly. Someone said, come talk to us in the Discord. I'll do that sometime. I want to do more voice chats. I'm going to start doing them in my Discord, too.
Yeah. I hang out in there quite a bit in my voice.
I know you do.
It's dope.
You're so chill. You can just be so chill. I need to get over my perfectionist. As a woman, women are trained, we have to be perfect. I have to be 150% perfect all the time. So sometimes I feel like I always have to have a purpose or be over prepared or over researched. I need to take a page out of your book and realize it's okay to just exist and hang, there doesn't always have to be a perfect lesson plan, a perfect point for the live,
Yeah. Don't be too slack. I get away with it, but I slack real hard.
Well, yeah, you could learn something from me too. If we could smash ourselves together, we might make one functional human. You know what I mean?
I need to join that. You're not in the Discord, you silly goose. It's the coolest Discord ever. You thinking?
This side of the Mississippi.
This side of the Mississippi.
I don't know where that came from. I don't know what's going on. Ooh. I have something. Laura says, hey, I'm a girl and I wore NFL and MLB jerseys all the time as a kid. Would you believe I'm straight? No, not possible, Laura. Not possible. I think you are actually confused because no, I was thinking about that. I've said this, my father is half African American, half indigenous Mexican. And if you know anything about Hispanic culture, there's a lot of machismo and this girls are girls and boys are boys type stuff. And when I was in third grade, my mom let me get my hair cut and I got it cut to here, chin level. Mm-hmm. And I came home and my dad beat the out of me and was just screaming things like, you're a girl, not a boy. You'll never cut your hair again. What the fuck are you doing? like I'm just going to give some examples. Like when I was 12 years old, I was better. I got a Division I scholarship for volleyball. I was better at basketball. I was a basketball prodigy. My mother forced me to focus on volleyball because she said the girls were more feminine and they wore bows in their hair, and they were very concerned, because I had expressed that like, hey, I like boys and girls, that like, the sport I was choosing was turning me gay. So I'm just shocked Mike is so young and feels like that. But because I always assign that to like older people, like boomers. But yeah, I grew up with parents that believed things like that and were convinced, like they confronted my AAU, my traveling basketball team coach. She was a junior college basketball player who kind of had like a short crew cut, she might have been gay. I don't know. I was a child. She wasn't talking to us about her sexuality. Looking back, she probably maybe was a lesbian, and my parents confronted her. This is a 20-year-old basketball coach, and accused her of trying to turn me gay. So I understand that people believe that stuff. And hey, exactly what I thought when I was a kid, when I started just saying like, hey, I don't think I really care like what someone looks like. Like I really, I just think, I'm attracted to people's brains. Like, and that's still true to this day. Exactly what I was trying to express as a little child remains true to this day. The last thing I care about is what type of genitals someone has. Like that's the last thing I'm concerned about. Like, are you sarcastic? Are you funny? Are you smart? Are you empathetic? Like, can you make me laugh? Like all those things that matter. And then it's like, whatever's going on with I can just figure it out. Like I'm pansexual. Yeah. Like I would consider myself like a sapiosexual, like when you're attracted to people's brains, but yeah, probably I'd just say pansexual. Like I don't really act on it. Like when these men, that guy earlier that was in here saying women shouldn't be having sex for pleasure and then getting ABs. Like I am 100%, I haven't had sex in years and years. And because of this, like I'm not, like, I don't, yeah. So. Slut. I mean, especially with men, like it's just, I don't see that happening again unless men seem to like really do a 180 on respecting women's bodily autonomy. Like I can really see that now. Like I'm not giving any emotional labor, physical labor. Celibacy rules. I mean, it sounds weird to say the word celibacy because I'm not purposely doing it, but yeah, like it's worked out that way. It wasn't something I set out to do. It just turned into that.
I don't know. Sorry. I was just remembering this Rick and Morty episode where...
No, please cut me off. I'm like, what am I talking about?
Slut-shaming dragons.
Oh.
You can take this stupid fake soul bond contract and you can...
No refunds.
Your dragon soul bonded with my grandpa!
Oh my. I am so sorry. That is a total violation.
Yeah, no shit.
I'll take care of this at once.
You slut dragon! You slut!
Chill out, dude.
Okay, that's slut! You don't have to... Shame on you! Shame you! Why the does it feel like you're whipping me?
Because you...
Oh, gosh, and that is conservative men, basically. There we have it. What a great illustration of what's going on in America.
Hello? Hello, Rosemary? Do you mean to join? Okay. My hubby got me into that show. It's so it's so funny. It's so funny. It's so good. It's so smart. Dan Harmon is a genius. Is it Pickles Time chat? If you're MAGA and you want to debate, hop in the box.
Tap the screen. Let's get to 250. Oh, and guys, everyone share the live. If you don't have someone to share it with, just push the copy link button like 10 times. Maybe if we get some shares. Oh, hi, Pickles. What a sweetheart.
chickens.
I love older animals because they're so chill, you know, like they've seen it all. Nothing surprises them.
Yeah.
I should go get Mr. Mittens.
Pickles, look at the camera. What are you looking at me?
How old is Pickles? 10? Did I make that up?
12.
12. Okay, so even older. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a senior citizen.
Yeah.
That's the problem with animals. They leave too soon. I'm going to have to get like a tortoise, something I have to leave in a will.
I know. I can't.
But they're less
tortoise,
cuddly.
Though. Yeah.
I know. That's the problem. It's less cuddly. Or like parrots live, or like, you know, not parrots, but is it parrots that live? I mean, there's certain birds that live for a long time.
Yeah, like parakeets or something, or cockatoos, or.
I'm a cat person too. Sorry, Kraken. You probably know that. I mean, no, I love dogs too, but it's just like cats. When you convince a cat to trust and love you, there's no better bond.
Yeah.
Macaws. Okay, there you go. And probably because my mother is like a narcissist, like a real one, not like narcissistic traits. Like cats like make you work for their love constantly. And that's how I grew up. Like dogs are just freely giving out love to anybody all the time. Like I'm not used to that. It's confusing to me.
Yeah. Pickles is a Schnauzer Yorkie mix.
Did you get Pickles at like you know what I mean? Did you buy the dog or is it just from a shelter or how did you get Pickles?
Yeah, I got her at SPCA. I got her at the shelter and she was $80. And I can't find my receipt.
Yes, that is called trauma. Exactly. So Dr. Adrian's like, that's called trauma, please. Yes, I am. Don't worry. I'm in active therapy. I've been in therapy for like 6 years. I can just talk about it now. Like I'm getting much better. You wouldn't have want to know me like 15 years ago. I was very angry.
She was 6 months when I got her.
So you've had her for the whole ride. I know. Yeah. It's like Mr. Mittens. I thought like my cat, Mr. Mittens, he's like 4.5, 5 pounds. That's how much he weighs. And I thought when I found him in an alley, I was like skateboarding at university home and I found him in an alley and I thought he was not alive. There was just a box of some cats. So I took them to an emergency vet. Well, first I stuck my hand in to try to nudge one and Mr. Mittens opened like one eye a crack and tried to lift his paw. So when I got to the emergency vet, I was like, if this one lives, like I'm going to keep her. And she's like, it's a him. And, and she's like, don't get your hopes up. And I'm like, why? And I was like, were they just born? Like, can they not survive? Because these cats were so small. And she's like, no, these cats have their adult teeth. They're so malnourished that they have just never grown. So that's why he's so small. My cat is tiny because he was just so malnourished. He never grew. And he's the most loving, adorable cat. And I've had him forever. And he's also as old. He won't be with us for long. Someone said they lost their cat on election day. I'm so sorry. That is too much to take on this election day. I'm so glad we did this. This has been productive. Like, you guys don't know how much better you've made me feel about today. Miss Julie, happy Merry Christmas Eve's Eve. We love you so much.
Oh, we got a rescue person.
Animals, we do not deserve our animals. They are just the never-ending, unconditional love. My cat is my longest relationship with... And then it goes my cat and then my therapist. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I used to have my therapist ask me to bring my dog in. Look at Pickles on the back.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Pickles.
My therapist started me, it's called like walking therapy, because I have been diagnosed with PTSD. So, we would walk and do therapy because I was able to like talk and communicate more freely and easily, and it would help me stay out of fight or flight. I highly recommend it. And my therapist said that, like, because she specializes in people with PTSD, and she said she like would shoot baskets with some people, like because she works with veterans, like whatever they would do, activity they could do to calm them down.
That's cool.
Your dentist has a dog in the office. That's a good idea too, to calm people down, and you get to pet an animal.
Pickles, you can't go live Mondays while Felice and Facts are on. I was jumping from live to live. Shit, you're right. You're probably right. Hello?
Hey, Pickles.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Doing good.
You guys are awesome. I love you guys.
Appreciate it.
I didn't know if you guys wanted
We're kind of dead right now. Yeah, we're kind of dead right now. You're welcome to say something. Yeah.
I've been on a couple of lives, but I just wanted to say what's so crazy is I have a sister. She lives in Texas. Her husband, he's an immigrant. He has a trucking company which hires undocumented people, and they all voted for Trump.
Oh my God.
I'm like, are you serious? And all my nieces and nephews too, they're anchor babies. And they all voted for Trump.
I guess the anchor babies are out of here too now.
And you know what and I don't even I've gotten rid of Trump people in my life. I really have. Because they voted against my son, because my son, he has a lot of things going on. He's 16 and he has medical things that he needs. And Trump wants to get rid of all that stuff, and it's hard, it's rough. And you know what? But I'm not even sad that I got rid of these people. It's good to know that they're those type of people. You know what I mean? It's good to know. I mean, know your enemies, I guess. You know what I mean?
I was talking about it in Facts and Eyes Live this morning. It got little to no attention, but Trump has a nephew. His name's Fred, named after
I watched the whole thing about Fred.
And there's a New York Times article that came out in July, and Fred has a disabled son, who has extra needs.
He told him to let him die, right?
Yeah, he said, and he said people at first he just said people like that probably shouldn't be here, basically, and then later finally directed it at Fred's child and said, well, hey, maybe he shouldn't be here. Yes. So, I mean, I'm just saying, when you hear that and you think, how can they cut the Department of Education? That's the funding for, kids who have IEPs and need extra help and need funding for that in schools. And, they don't want to provide health care, or you hear United Healthcare is cutting, doing automatic denials for kids, for kids on the spectrum. And he just thinks it's a kindness that they not be in existence, apparently.
Because Trump people want dumb people. They don't want educated people. That's why. They don't want educated people because they think they're going to do better than them. You know what I mean? And we are going to do better than them. And, fuck them. That's what
exactly, Lexi, but they're pro-life.
Excuse my language, but you know what I mean. Yeah.
Frick them.
Yes, frick them. Thank you guys for letting me up.
Yeah,
appreciate
anytime,
it,
dude. Have a good one.
Happy holidays. Christmas Eve or Kwanzaa or whatever.
I don't celebrate that stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it for that. Either do I. I will just have a bag of edibles and I will be reading a book. I don't celebrate.
So I buy him shit.
That's the best Christmas you can have. But I just say Merry Christmas Eve because I think it's just funny. It's not because I recognize the holiday.
I think it's being respectful. That's all it is. You know what I mean? That's whatever. People tell me Merry Christmas. I don't go off like a Trump person would and say, don't tell me that or whatever. I'm just like, okay, thank you. Same to you, Yeah. Trump people, they should just not exist.
Oh, we don't say that though. We won't say that.
No,
say
but,
that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, not, in a different world, they shouldn't exist.
I don't know. I don't think that way. It's not cognitive dissonance. You know, no one wants to be in cognitive dissonance. I don't feel. Yeah, I feel like we are all humans. You know what I mean? And we're a sum total of our experiences. And I'm just lucky that enough people like spoke to me enough times and gave me the resources, you know, to realize, you know, to educate myself out of cognitive dissonance. I easily could be on the right. You know, I was raised
because you guys are
strong
younger.
evangelical Christian, like completely with bigoted beliefs. Like I was raised steeped in it, and I had to educate myself out of it. And I have hope for everyone that if we provide the resources, you know, as a teacher too, like I have undying hope that through education, people could change, you know, could change their perspective. I mean, we have data on it. Education lifts people out of poverty, out of crime. I mean, education is the difference. We can change people, but I know but again, everyone's frustration.
It depends on who's educating you too. That's the thing.
Sub only chat. Yay. Chat,
All right.
I'm so
you guys
tired.
have a good holiday, and thank you for having me on.
Hey, thank you. You too, man.
I keep muting myself and talking. Nice to meet you. Should we? What are your plans tomorrow again for Christmas Eve? Remind me.
My brother's gonna come get me at 5 p.m. And,
I thought that was Christmas.
so I'm gonna go do like Christmas Eve with my mom, and then I'll be home probably around like 9 or 10, and then I'll.
Should we do this again then?
Yeah. And then Christmas, I don't know. I think I'm staying a night out in East Texas, so I'll be streaming from a garage.
Awesome. Garage live.
Yeah.
Location change.
Doing my communist propaganda in the garage away from all the MAGA family members.
That's awesome. Oh, so will there be a bunch of people there? Awesome. Even better.
Yeah.
Because I'm saying have you not slept in 2 days? Maybe we should get some sleep and then do this again tomorrow. I'm down for that. Like I said, my plans are to rest and by that I mean with a bag of edibles and read a book.
Amen. It's a religion I could get behind.
I know. That's what I was saying. If I ever start a cult, which we should consider, I think we're charismatic leaders. Yeah, the sacraments, like when we take communion, it should be edibles. Should be sativa edibles for the bread. Like, what should the wine be? I don't know.
Oh, wine.
Should we? I don't know. I don't know if I should be on alcohol.
I can't drink.
Maybe
Yeah,
not. I know. I was going to say I shouldn't either.
Forever.
It's not my best, but I'm sure we can think of some. Or kava. We talked about this. We'll just do kava.
Kava, yeah, kava and like a mixture of kratom.
Yeah, exactly. Like we'll have our own brew. Sunny D too. We'll throw some Sunny D in there.
Yeah. And there'll be pie.
There'll be pie. Did you say pie?
Yeah.
And pie. For sure.
Okay.
Can we all wear Adidas tracksuits? I think some right winger on X was saying the world's ending. You know how they always say the world's ending about this time? Is it Dan Bongino that's like always the world's ending, like once a year? They're saying it again on X.
Yeah.
Someone's predicting again that the world's ending.
Please.
When they thought JFK was coming back to Dallas or something. They thought JFK, the Qs, they thought JFK was coming to Dallas.
Pop out of the grassy knoll.
Yes, Tang, like the astronauts. We'll do it for NASA. Do you know what Tang is?
Yeah, I remember Tang.
That powder.
Mm-hmm. Ugh.
Well, we'll do it like our cult will be like the Church of Satan. If you guys don't know, the Church of Satan, you should join. It's like a political movement. It's like a group of kind of like atheists who they've formed a religion, and they, when like conservatives try to put the Bible back in schools and all these things, the Church of Satan shows up and is like, "Oh, are we putting religion back in this school?"
I like it.
Like, and then they demand like representation and stuff. It's awesome. And they also fundraise. They've, I think, established like a few AB clinics in conservative states.
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of good.
I love it.
Where do we join? The Church of Satan or our cult? Our cult is in the works, but the Church of Satan, look it up for real. You're a member, right, Pickles? I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like $50 and you could get a card that's.
If anyone wants to help us with our charter, I'm thinking instead of like, like the Mormons keep everybody's name in a book, we'll do nothing but feet pics. I want everybody's feet pics before they join.
Yeah. That's a great idea. Yeah, for sure. Feet pics. Oh, this is going to be great. I'm getting excited. Yeah, someone said every Satanist I've ever met is nicer than every Christian. Yeah, I think people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what Satanism is. It's just the belief that there's no power higher than you, and you believe in the pursuit of like pleasure and self promotion. That's not the right word, not self promotion, but I mean, yeah, it's actually Satanism is not a bad thing at all. People just don't like that word.
Yeah, I remember my dad was telling me that he found out my uncle who passed away was into the Satanism thing, but he was getting sober with it. And I'm like, Dad, it's not bad. He's like, it was Satanism.
Well, that's funny you say that because I've always thought Satanism is great. Like if you're trying to fight addiction, like, yeah. Because I've gone, through this, like I stopped drinking and, all of that. And the tenets of AA, like scientifically are horrible. Like, creating neural pathways. We know the brain can change because of neuroelasticity and hammering it into your mind that you are powerless against an addiction is the most harmful thing for addiction.
Yeah. The forbidden fruit factor becomes so much worse. Like I've seen people, I've been in and out of the rooms for like 10 years. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know it religiously.
Yeah.
And
there's science based. Like I told you, I always say I went to PTSD camp. I really did, but it's like a science based place. They're using evidence based science, and there were people, people with PTSD have addiction problems and everything, and they had like scientists talking about that, like the dangers of AA, of creating a neural pathway based on the fact you're helpless against addiction when in fact you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other things were like some of the things I've seen people being forced to do is crazy. Like if you stole from Walmart 10 years ago, they would make you like go report your, like some people like to do your, what's it called, to do like
your inventory. I know. I was gonna say atonement, but like I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Like I've seen people
like confess just to the most say it, people.
Things.
Yeah, it's like just pipe. I know, like in group. If you've ever been to intensive outpatient therapy, it's like, hey, you don't need to tell us this. I was like, I think someone's confessing to unaliving their wife. One time we were like in group and it was like, is anyone hearing this? I am disturbed.
I went to this thing called, I was deep in it. I went to this thing called, Spirit of the Pines.
Amends. Thank you. Amends. That's
Spirit of the Pines. It was like a getaway, and it was for recovering addicts and alcoholics, and everybody banged. I never got, I was never lucky, but like, you can imagine a bunch of people out in the woods in cabins, but there was like a night.
Everybody.
Yeah. Like there's a night at the end where like everybody's like laying down and like looking at the stage. You're supposed to like say the like most deepest, darkest things, and people would confess to the craziest shit. Like you can't see who's saying it, but you can like if you know them, it's like, yo, did so and so just say he raped someone, yo?
It's crazy. Like, and then it's like once someone starts, it's like a domino effect, and it's like this is not one up everyone with the crimes that you've committed, and now we all have to have this on our consciences. Please be quiet.
Yeah, making amends. Thank you, Dark Nurse. Yes. Yeah, making amends to the, I don't know. And then you have like people in there who were sponsors, and they're like doing surgery on people's lives with no like certification,
no background or training. Absolutely.
They're like, you're dumping your girlfriend, you're telling your parents, like all this, like doing things, making decisions for these people who are just like 6 hours sober. It's crazy. It's such a shit show.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Upending like the stability in their lives. Absolutely. Yeah. It's again, I should tell you, the one time I did go to AA, the group leader, it turns out, first of all, he was, hitting on me relentlessly. And then he was like, like, oh, I'll mentor you. Cause I don't know if you've heard of the 13th step or whatever.
Yeah.
Everyone should.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
I've seen people.
It's like these older male sponsors who latch on to young, vulnerable girls.
Yeah, get them before the steps do, is what they say.
The 13th Step is a documentary. So if you're wondering what we're talking about, you can watch. It's a documentary called The 13th Step. And I discovered like that he was telling people in the group, this was a very large AA group, and he was the leader and telling people that we were dating. And then I caught him like with alcohol on his breath several times. Like he wasn't even sober.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I've seen people like 15 years sober rubbing a 16-year-old's tummy or something right outside the doors, offering them cigarettes. I've seen it all.
That's why I have a problem. Yeah, no. The best thing I ever did, that PTSD camp, which was evidence-based science addiction treatment, and I learned so much. It was so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of documentaries, any good documentary recommendation? There's one on Lisa Frank. We were kind of talking about throwback stuff. Ladies in here know Lisa Frank, the folders with dolphins on them, the bright stuff. If you ever wondered what happened to Lisa Frank, there is a documentary on Prime that is fascinating about the Lisa Frank company. Oh my gosh. They call it the Rainbow Gulag. That's what they call it. Yeah, put a 1 in the chat if you know who Lisa Frank is. Lisa Frank, you remember Trapper Keepers? Yeah.
I loved I loved Lisa Frank. I loved the Eraser.
Are you gay?
No.
According to Mike, Mike, we might have to question you.
I may have put 1 or 2 in my butt. Who knows?
No, I loved Lisa Frank. Yeah, and it will burst your bubble real fast. I grew up in Arizona. Lisa Frank is from Tucson. I didn't know that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, great documentary. And oh man, I don't want to tell you guys about this one, but there's a documentary also called like Unseemly. There's a man, he's Canadian. His name is Peter Nygard. He's a billionaire. He is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. So it's called like Unseemly. Oof.
IB
like
Vic,
Peter.
Thank you for the subscription.
Someone said I live right by the factory. Yeah, apparently, and it's like run down, but they're still like using it still.
Oh, that's tight.
The baby tiger. Hey, you know what I learned about that? The 2 baby tigers are named after their kids. It's like one is Forrest and the other one is, the tigers' names. Those are their 2 kids. I loved the tigers too.
Yeah, I loved that stuff. I loved pencils and gel pens and stuff when I was a kid.
Yes. Oh yeah, you're an artist. I bet you did. It's really cool because that's what it is. It's like the artists that worked at Lisa Frank. They call it the Rainbow Gulag, and they're talking about like being slave driven to like produce drawings. You could totally work there. Maybe you should go apply.
Heck no.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you could. You're a great artist. So is Cootery, if you're
Cootery's
still here.
amazing. Yeah.
I know. She's so amazing.
Kashi, thank you for the sub. When I make emotes and art, sometimes I use Lisa Frank's inspiration. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, you could totally work at Lisa Frank. It's amazing. Oh, let me give you guys a show. If you're looking for something to binge, oh my gosh, it's nominated for a bunch of awards. It's called Disclaimer. It's Kate Blanchett. It's on Apple TV Plus. Man, it is. And Kevin Kline. It's intense, and I could see why it's nominated for a bunch of awards. It is intense and good. You need to see what Cootery made in Discord live chat. I mean, I can only imagine. She's a brilliant artist. And I'm not going to get weird, but I'm just going to give Cootery some compliments. Cootery is an amazing artist because like, I feel like she's super empathetic and like understands who she's drawing for, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like she understands who I am, and then like I can see myself in her creations.
Yeah, chat, if you guys have my emotes, if you're a subscriber, if that's anybody in chat, you can see all the emotes she's made. But yeah, they're great. And like some of them are just like really nifty, like very well done. Like the calculator that's like half truth. It's like the composition, like the composition of her emotes are really good.
No, I don't get weird, and I know I don't compliment you enough, but you are absolutely amazing, Christy.
Tommy
truly.
raid. What the hell? Tommy, thank you for the raid.
I know the broadcast artwork is amazing, all Cootery. I know, and Dr. Danny's up. They love it. They are just like enamored with it. Cootery is so talented. That's the best thing about TikTok is like the algorithm has brought us all together. We all have such different talents and interests and qualities, but I'm just shocked by the intelligence level, by like meeting people that understand me. We're all so lucky.
Here, I'll turn sub chat off for a little bit while they raid. I feel bad having sub chat on when they're raiding. Hello,
hey,
welcome Tommy
raid.
Welcome, guys.
We're having a love fest.
Miss Julie with the sub. Thank you, Miss Julie. The rating Santana. That's all right. I'm so mad at myself for missing my thing. I had 900 viewers earlier. We haven't gotten back.
Oh, I can't believe. Yeah, puzzle pieces. How did you miss it? I haven't done it for a while. I'm
delirious.
It's like, isn't there a better way to do that? Do you know what I'm saying? Is there not a better way? Like to have this loud ass like noise in the middle of lives going on. Like there has to be a better way to ensure we're not bots.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Tommy raid. So we did
raid. Hey, Ticky Tacky.
Lord Tassad and phone number. Thank you guys for the subs.
I know, and people are like, "What is that?" Like, it sounds like a dial-up modem, like in the middle of your life.
Oh,
I hope I don't get in a fight with my family this week. Operation: Do not engage in political talk.
Tommy raid for show. Okay, for sure. Chat, we are looking for opposition. If you want to debate, hop in the box. Come and debate. I know. We have been...
People are like, why are you screaming puzzle piece? Sorry, I'm just talking to Lexi. Love you too, funny boy Jeff.
Julie with the sub, thank you so much.
Does your shirt say bleach blonde?
Bleach blonde, bad built.
Oh, I got it. I like that. Black on black. I like that. Black on or gray on black.
Yeah.
That's actually, I like that a lot. And you're supporting, did you get it from Jasmine Crockett's website or did you just get it off Amazon?
No, I got it off of her thing in the stand in person.
Awesome.
Yeah.
If we nominate another Democratic candidate who is not going to fight for universal health care, I think we need to create our own party.
I'm down. The Bubs.
Yeah. Well, we got to think about that. I mean, it will start as a call. It will start as a party, and then we'll turn it into a doomsday call. But, and like, just to be clear, like in America, when people talk about creating political parties, people are like, you can't do that. Just to be clear, how it works is like, there are many political parties in other types of democracies. We're not going to like have our own, like what we do then is negotiate with the Democratic Party and then we all vote as a coalition, you know, like I'm not necessarily saying we dilute votes and like shoot ourselves in the foot. Like, I'm saying we would say, hey, if you want our votes, then you promise to have this many progressives or whatever, bubs, whatever our party name is, in the cabinet.
Pickles has the most calming voice and needs to read the phone book.
It's also these microphones too. These microphones make it even better.
Yeah, because my voice, like when I'm on Felice's stream, people say my voice sounds way different.
Oh, so you can't use this microphone on my stream?
Yeah.
And that's why you can't mute, huh? I get it now. I did not get it before.
Yeah, like if I had something right here making noise, you probably wouldn't hear it. And if my other headphones are on, it would hear everything.
Gotcha. Oh, speaking of headphones, since I know you're into this stuff, have you seen, those like super expensive vacuums, Dyson? I love all their technology. Have you seen their headphones? They just came out with like $600 headphones. I was thinking last night, the first time I saw them, I was like, oh, I need to talk to Pickles. Yeah, Dyson has, and they have 55 hours of battery life. But I made a note to myself to remind. Yes, Dyson, the technology company, has headphones.
Air filter headphones.
Yeah, and they're like patented. I'm like, what is this?
They look sleek.
I know. And you can replace the outside, you can change colors. They like snap on and off. I like the blue and the copper though. I think that's a really good look.
6 hertz.
I know, Dyson. I love Dyson products. I have the air wrap thing for your hair, and it actually does work.
What is it? What did it say? 6 hertz to 24k hertz. Apple. Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought I was showing you guys what I was just looking at. I'm so silly.
Yeah, put the blue and copper ones up. Yeah, those.
There you go. There they are. Chat, I totally thought I was showing you. Oh, Tic Tac. Does it filter out my kids arguing? No.
Oh, no. I mean, apparently their noise canceling are good, but like if I have the iPod, the iPod Pro 2s, and like they are hearing aids. And I'm not saying I'm deaf, but you know what I'm saying? And it's just like, so now I'm kind of addicted to them now. Once you realize, and they protect your hearing and they can work as hearing aids and they do like hearing tests. And now I'm just like, all headphones. I'm like, is it a hearing aid?
Those were super slick. That's the vacuum people?
That's those? Dyson. Yes, Dyson.
Nice. Those are really nice.
I know. When I saw it and I was like, Pickles needs to know about this.
Oh, the little sound bar. Okay. Oh, the ear, dude. The puffs that were yellow were dope. Those are dope. You can change You can change all the colors, like the earpieces and the outside snaps, which is awesome.
$500.
Yeah,
I mean that's comparable with like the headphones Pickles wears, not the ones he has on now, but the Air. What is it? Air Max.
AirPod Maxes.
AirPod Maxes. Yeah.
AirPod Max. So
thanks, Holly.
So hey, I was looking into the Biden thing when he took all the death row and put them into life sentences. Did you guys hear about that?
Yeah.
Oh, the federal, people who are on federal, except for the ones that are like mass unalivers.
Yeah, there was 3 of them that missed out, but I was looking into that. I'm like, why would he do that? Like on his way out the door, I thought it was pretty cool, but I started looking into it. Did you know Donald Trump? He did more executions than every other president for the last 120 years.
Whoa.
He did 13 executions during his presidency. The very last one he did was on January 6th of 2021. He did one on his way out the door just because I think he liked doing it.
Oh yeah,
so
imagine
Joe Biden stepped in to protect these people.
Well, imagine imagine the Republicans are the people of small government, and if they could follow a line of logic, why would you give the government that you don't trust the power to unalive people? Republicans have so much hypocrisy in their logic. I'm glad. I agree with you. It probably was because they were probably going to be imminently unalived.
Oh yeah, they had 4 years max. But that.
How many people was it? By the way, do you remember?
It was 37. There was 40 total. 37 of them were commuted to life sentences. But since the 1970s, there's been over 70 people have been executed at federal and state levels who have been proven innocent after their execution.
It's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. Like, they were going to unalive that one man. It ended up being stayed. But remember, with shaken baby syndrome, that has been proven to be like scientifically non-existent. And like, they're going to unalive someone. It's not safe. It's not safe in this country whatsoever.
So, a little good news. And then what was the other one? The kind of background.
The Gates report. I mean, it's nothing we didn't already hear, but I mean,
I actually sat in Dirty Dan's and he went over the whole thing. It was quite interesting, quite long too. But Luigi, he lost $300 million. I'm sorry, $30 million inheritance. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, a while back.
Apparently, his grandma. Well, yeah, his grandma actually had to put it in the will. It's one of those kind of sick things. She seems very controlling to the point she wanted to control people after she was gone. If anybody in her family, if they ever get committed a felony, there was a number of different speculations, but a lot of them was having to do with if you get in trouble, you're out of their inheritance. And then at the very end it says, and it's up to the trustees even. So, like, the trustees can just be like, nah, we don't like this guy.
Yeah, there's a morality clause. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stipulations on trusts sometimes. But, yeah, ultimately, it's up to the trustees. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So,
I wonder, I mean, he's retaining a very high-powered lawyer in New York, so they must be paying for it somehow.
Probably to save the name.
She's amazing. You know, Karen Agnifilo, well, her name was Karen Friedman. Luigi has a bomb lawyer. She's on Legal AF all the time with Ben Meiselas. And her husband, though, this is a little known fact, she's married to the guy who's defending P. Diddy, Mark Agnifilo.
Oh. I don't know if that's a very strong flex.
But I mean, he's a famous defense lawyer. Everyone deserves a defense. I mean, I believe in the legal system. Like, everyone deserves a defense. I don't like him but you know, everyone deserves a defense.
Agreed. Due process. You
guys, you know what's really disturbing, since you seem to be up on the news? What the is going on the New York subway? Did you guys read that story? I can't even speak about it.
No, I haven't. Other than Daniel Penny, that was the last thing I read.
No, you guys, the most horrible thing. A guy who was like, it's horrible. It's
set someone on fire.
Let me just send. Well, wait, I don't have your. I was gonna be like, I'll text you the story. I mean, and watched a woman who was like had a walker and like didn't even try to move till the flames had fully engulfed her. And this is like, I mean, I don't know how to say it, like sadism. That's the only way you can. I don't know how else you can say it.
Yeah, like it was being recorded, just standing there.
Yeah, like the police came. No, like the police came and the guy didn't move. Like that's how they know who it was and detained him really fast, because he was like a voyeur who set someone on fire and then was like watching and just like chilling. And he was all over like the body cams, just chilling calmly, like in the subway, like sitting across in the subway car, sitting across
dead
from
eyes,
just dead eye, just observing.
Yeah.
And they're like, he never left and they didn't know it was him. He just did this, calmly sat there and watched it happen. And then they're like, oh, here's the guy on this body cam footage.
And of course he's undocumented migrant. So
from
they're going to
Guatemala.
So they're going to use that.
But I just want to say, like, instances of crime like this, like I said, that's what I'm saying. This is sadism, right? Like, this has nothing to do with where you come from. To do something like this, you know, like we say, you can't reduce instances of crime to zero. This is something nobody can plan for. This is unfathomable.
There's 8 billion people in this world. Some of them are going to get their wires crossed, and not all of them live in America. You know?
Exactly. This is just like, you can't even imagine that these things can happen. Here, I'll tell you the name of the article and you can look it up because this one's pretty good. It's called, just put suspect charged with, murder, arson for allegedly setting woman on fire and unaliving and killing her on a New York subway car. Here, I'll send it to Pickles. Yeah, you can.
I got it.
Put it up. Yeah, it's pretty. But the details are the eeriest part. I just would say truly the devil is in the details in this case. He's a 33-year-old Guatemalan citizen. So he entered the U.S. unlawfully sometime in the past 6 years, right? And I think they like deported him once, and he came back in, if I'm not mistaken. When I was reading. Yeah, here we go. Border Patrol encountered him in Sonoita, which that's the border I live by the way. Sonoita, Arizona is on the border, the Lukeville, Arizona border, on June 1, 2018, and served him with an order of expedited removal. And he was removed 6 days later to Guatemala. And then according to U.S. Immigration and Customs, right, he then unlawfully re-entered the U.S. on an unknown date and location. So they put him back in Guatemala, and then he came back.
Damn.
It was at 7:30 a.m. on the F train.
How do you get from Guatemala to America twice on foot?
Okay, so this is what it was. Oh, many ways. And we don't know. I mean, maybe he also was on a bus. So after reviewing surveillance video from inside the subway car, that's what it is. Police noticed the suspect was sitting across from the victim, right? So who was asleep. They were the only two passengers on the car. Can you imagine what to think and just plan to do this with a woman who's asleep? The suspect then approached the woman and lit her clothes and a blanket she was using on fire. Surveillance video shows the suspect was exiting the train and sitting down on a platform bench watching as the woman burned. Sources said she did not react until she was fully engulfed in flames.
Was there an accelerant?
The victim appeared to have some mobility issues, and she had a walker that was found at the scene and had a lot of layers of clothes and fabric around her, which they believe accelerated the fire. Police body camera and surveillance images were key to apprehending the suspect. They said officers stopped the train in Herald Square in Midtown and walked from car to car to take the suspect into custody. He was still on the train. I don't even know what to say about that. And this is this is women. How, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Sadism. Oh, there's no other words for that.
Dudes, I am tired. I think I'm gonna go to bed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Same.
Let's get some sleep. Thank you guys so much for having me. Thank you. You guys my day has turned around. Thank you for turning my frown upside down. I'll see you. I'll text you tomorrow. Pickles, okay. And if you're on later in the night, I'll join you.
That works.
Have a good holiday, please.
I know. You too, Tic Tac. You too.
You too.
Bye.
You guys have a good night.
Bye, guys. Chat. Give everybody follow and love. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys.